100.9 FM suni. Na enne ye Monday June 2 2025. I ye prinit 100.9 FM so. Ene say ye ba mo na so yi. Na ne ye juada. Ayan mo babo so na ye wura mu yi. Ne de tosu mienu. Afi empinu aduonu enum. Na mame say me manti dwumadie ne de bremo. Na me manti dwumadie de bremo no. Abodonko apahome ti dumienu. Na me amede ho chia me from ADAKABRI Mamudu Osioma. Na production no esi panyini kwadwo dame adene na so. Majeri osai ajman na ebo ne chidom. Owo me akuafri ye eye oba panyini na ono so o service mrante kwa mienu. A technical production yabeba panyini eye abna frema bankro. Na ya safo ba bi owo biada ebo ne chidom na ototo. The interactions on various social media handles abra frema behwe na yetimi yahunu se ekone sen na engineering team no so no achu agbo worker kotiako na najare na nabuaje na adasankroma da nyina yesanmra ne se sempro na facilities team no eno so hwania big solo and a dada and a Godfred, the friend of Ubrana, na fe Mapuna, na Yaw, na Milson so, na Yasanmran and say, Tachai, na bibia timiako ede amai. Nene, and somewhere, the Bocrata would I and Sakaye, a beshe name moon 7 year yibi. Na sa so, Anna, Chama wound to me, and Nedway. Yampa bonus will be fiana, and also ye did home come so ekakra. Na Nimunyam bay na techri, Ebema Santikotoko hinning, ubetu to atata na wabankna ha. Je neseko ame despite kwanda waninia a year for sapon, or mona send Nimunyam no bet me a cofa hon diaba. Na car museum no, but I be ni siswo, na nina yetimi edidia home come and kakra. Ye frame ADAKABRI Mamudu Osioma. Yenhwe Democrata no emu nsemu no bia ewo ho. Delegate akwankyerefo no. Osi Ghana assures osi government assures Ghana bauxite of support. Say eye bauxite yetu no awaso ewo sehwemamu na omo se ye per refinery. Aban so obehwe na watimi ama omo disa adwuma no. Report today or be declared wanted OSP to Furiata. Kenneth Nanaya Furiata Kuntunkunku and say OSP say Omrane Nanyasa so dia at the best side in the dia Kongum say or you'll be a year penno yet nakoto a year red flag red wanted list and so na I entapu a penno at the Naba Ghana. Won't me fast for Iyoko bill variation. Say a year Bernadette Jubius Yako, a Central Regional Chairman of the MPP, and or no, Ako we say 50 million bill no. Yakoko to so saying a year high court so and very pino, and ne ended upon Yako. The Ghanaian point, and or do we say by or say items is the best we can have at our port. Tepe Atoforsen and former customs boss advice. Nick Dansua Biam, AJ, or a chief executive of Ghana Link Network Services, and in Funidaha. Abiam and a Shani Korea for Kokofa, a year integrated a year customs service at the buy. And they Seteke, I were a senior government advisor, economic advisor. Atoforsen, a finance minister, a customs former boss, or Munina say. In fact, I consider so far no, it is the best we can have. Anna omo I can say. Daily Post Anna all can say. Or say Mahama applauds Gold Boss CEO Sami Jamfi for outstanding achievement since its inception. President of the Republic John Dramani Mahama and the Odia Basobodia Sonko Ediama Sami Ajay Sami Jamfi say or no. Gold board or nuko tua no why adwuma ama emu ate na yede akonom adekoka chairman ade ena ene wafiri mu Ghanaian Times ena odibaye osi boost for cocoa President of the Republic John Dramani Mahama in phone in dai osi president hints of processing factories for growing areas good producer price for farmers osi ne de 1 year cocoa akuafo ena ate de ko wie se Ghana mampanyine se mia na ye do cocoa ti cocoa pa no ye de mfidi nwuma ne bi bekwa kosi ho ne asachira cocoa no mu ade aye no ma bi ebetimi amasika etimi aba sa local economy num na pe so no ebua ye di cocoa no gie so no ya san apejam na aboa cocoa fo na ode aba the publisher ena ode ba ye say sick wound me suppress day 7 in detention or say Bernard Buasiakon chairman wound to me Ashanti regional chairman of the MPP and a nadia was say yare nanso so no nefuanso ana wadi ewo aban kukumu na ne lawyer say MPP director of legal ana wo twintwa na namu akoka kire court say yente bill no so abra be so wanya ne dada ana we na kwakoye ntwintwa namu bi ade aba. The Ghanaian publisher Posterity is watching Apenyo marking to NDC Osahine Bamina Apenyo marking minority leader and what can I say the echoes nyina unyamina ehwe NDC for the dachi and ombeka yasem minister Estos Bauxite Company minister Western North and was say Bauxite Company omaya ade Tomo pese ye nanimu ebi ewa ahase na Omapia Ghanaian Chronicle ena odebaye osi Zoom Lion makes Ghana proud in Africa signs 3 mega waste management contracts in Nigeria, Ethiopia and Democratic Republic of Congo osi Dr. Joseph Kwame Japan enna ene wone ni team Jospon Group omo ena di Zoom Lion eba Ghana ene Lagos State omo assign agreement Emma Miami akoma yensa Emma Zoom Lion ena akɔhwɛ ami asesa bola no ne yedi akɔ transfer stations ne yedi akɔ material resource centers ne yetimi akɔ sorting out na yenya sikapuduo ede afri ade ananka obi ampe bola no mu no Nigeria na kire no ne nansa so pepepe ena no so Ethiopia fo enso so ene ne sensan krata ta eno nso so no wamrei na Addis Ababa and so I'm a boy, yentimi nsesa bola no. Then so once again, yampanko transfer stations, na pe no yampanko material resource centers, na yentimi sorting out. Nienya sikapudo, empam free bola mu ewo Ethiopia. The kra so no Democratic Republic of Congo, and also so the nanu ya nanunie, and then also sign agreement and also so yako. Enti no, and a chronicle Zoom Lion, wama Ghana, sabi yenima tipa papa, ewo bibire mu hase. Ghana ni yesi yampa. No. GBC makes giant strides. Bauxite, Ghana Bauxite Company. In Yaban will be a priest Ghana Broadcasting. A bauxite for no and Omakofa refinery. Ediaba say aye awaso yebeye na ya sachira bauxite no more. The new crusading guide and what they buy was a Brian provides 50 million surety for wound to me as MPP grassroots hail him. I say ne Brian a champion. Bomase. And say yes here pe obi amenaginam ede ama chema wuntu mi a o se brand champion ati agina ede nkrata beta ato e yemfanyi chema wuntu mi Daily Graphic and what can say ye or say e-bat system GRA signs on 3,000 businesses 5,000 more prepared to onboard ni nyina say Ghana Revenue Authority and say VIT paper bebrebe no omo an electronic. Now, no, and was say 3,000 and so much slow. The name to the Mwaba say 3,000 are signed, the 5,000 more, and I am Hobwa, say Yadeba. As Zoom Lion signs waste management deals in 3 countries Nigeria, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, and a Zoom Lion, says Yade, Wamadru. Now, no, and now one Casa Sosono, Omode Atu, and Nimuase. Entino, Gusuneti and Neat, 100.9 FM. Na fe no interview back me no be so intimimra and if about them was say Benjamin Isari of the New Patriotic Party, John Afo of the National Democratic Congress, Solomon Uhusu of the Movement for Change na ye hwete dem po efufuo yɛde bɛkɔ akɔbɔ
na n'ani ahoɔden ɛba fo mpo mmabunu bi ɛbrɛ ɛwɔ w'anim nanso aniyadeɛ biara a wowɔ no mekamfo Optovision Eye Clinic ɛde ama wo. Optovision Eye Clinic provides diagnosis and world-class affordable treatment for all eye diseases, including glaucoma, cataract, and aniyadeɛ ahodoɔ pii. Deɛ yɛ soronko koraa ne sɛ Optovision Eye Clinic wɔ quality designer space ahodoɔ ɛbɛ fatal sɛnea wo penny biara. It is a wani yɛ oya anaasɛ wani ahoɔden aba fam anaasɛ wopɛ sɛ wo ho adeɛ yie a wonim baabi ɛsɛ sɛ wo ba. Optovision Eye Clinic.
Call us on 0553 270806 or WhatsApp on 0558 517556. Optovision Eye Clinic.
NIT FM Neo.
NIT 100.9 FM suni yanko na interview baako a edikan Baba Inusa Fuseni Esquire or ye former member of parliament for Tamale Central, former Rose Minister na yene nkodi nkomo efa lawyer nsensem ya ho Honorable Yamawa ha
me jibuto na form design.
Honorable Yaho ye na nso so
Me ho ye.
Yo waye former finance minister Kenneth Nana Yakuntunkrunkun Furiata and a special prosecutor esu ohia no in person na eno went me anko and some special prosecutor no enya communication eto asomu to declare wanted and a hon sensem ba ye man lawyer for so region mu send ho and edo no ne ho emfa no ene no oyi ni dini edi free wanted list no so. Subsequently, Anna or the manson etimi agingam special prosecutor no say waguna nimase technically what defame no na a special prosecutor and say having taken note of say was a lawsuit no still no was some date a year on sign appear in person and it's a latest communication to the special prosecutor no e could be say could they consider a virtual meeting via Zoom Ana enedue ya special prosecutor Sandy Atum was a wanted special prosecutor name Kenneth Nana Yao Ofuriata description date of birth November 7 1958 age 66 years gender male eye color black hair color black distinction mark not applicable, and then complexion, brown skin, and a possible whatever location, United States of America, United Kingdom. Reasons: the suspect is wanted to answer charges in respect of several cases, including strategic mobilization, GRA contract, termination of ECG, BXC contract, national cathedral payments, ambulance procurement contract, and tax refund account utilization. What do you make of sir re-entry onto the wanted list?
First of all, may I say criminal trial, and particularly for grievous criminal offenses. Obia entimim begina amma the suspect. And the law does not make for virtual investigation of a matter, which is criminal in nature. So criminal investigative authorities will want a suspect or an accused person to appear in person. In person appearance na investigative authorities here, not virtual. Now, what will be the essence of a virtual encounter? Criminal investigative authorities Emma almost say what the bonnie at here on my and they are investigating it. It remember say who appear before them are. I dare the who say why ye bonnie at the tear on my you can be arrested after appearing before them. And when you are arrested, no, you have to post bail for your release. Now, we have virtual appearance. How will you be arrested? How will you be arrested? The law on criminal investigations does not make room for sick persons unless you court. Then court say you are too weak to stand trial. A court on obetima kasa, but for an investigative body, you must appear before them. If you are too weak to stand trial, that will be within the jurisdiction of the court and not the investigative body. It said, lawyer bimu bisa say, aden yentia say, ken ofurata yariana. But that law doesn't account for the yari. The law pursues the offense. The investigative authorities pursue the offense. Nye ken ofurata no mo pursue. Omo investigate an offense. And the ken ofurata is a subject of interest. That's what we must understand.
Now, qualified and practicing lawyers of repute and I advise Kenneth Ofuriatta in the conduct of this matter. How you say it categorically? Say, in criminal law, nobody can stand in your stead. There's nothing like virtual meeting. How was he advised then?
Well, for lawyers, say, or what lawyers, no advice, you know. So that one meant to mean 40, and I mean to mean lawyers on. But what I'm saying is that in criminal matters, you have to appear before the investigative authorities.
So I'm like trying to find out how could he propose that virtual meeting, which is being scorned?
Because the virtual meeting was just laughable in the first place. So I had no reason to doubt that the OSP will discount or reject a virtual meeting. That overreaches the powers of the OSP. And I won't, sir.
You can logical.
Yes, because we hear virtual, we hear America, and now we hear Britain. Now we hear virtual meeting. Then the investigative authorities, they say, oh, now a proper facie case. From your answers, I think that you really have questions to answer. And we will caution you. How are they going to administer a caution?
Are you suggesting, say, after an encounter with a special prosecutor, is it always the case you'll be cautioned and arrested?
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that the encounter with the special, say, almost set of facts. Almost set of facts, the Yejuma. So, almost per se, Ken Ofuriatta and appear so that they can put questions to him. Now, questions, the answers will show, say, it appears that this person is really connected with the commission of the offense. At that point, the investigation will move another degree. After the investigation, they will now administer a caution statement. Now, but all the time they are investigating and asking you questions. No, they are not questioning you. They're just asking. They are just investigating. But immediately they come to the conclusion that they appear to be a prima facie. They appear to be some matters that they ought to take seriously and that you might be involved in the commission of an offense. They will administer a caution statement.
And then, Honorable Inusa Fuseni, you also mentioned, say, in the arena of crime, whilst criminal investigations are undergoing, there is no issue about being sick or not being sick. Even if not all, it should be in the bosom of the court. But then, we have a very high-profile lawyer, Frank Davis, who is posing this question. Why is it difficult for people to understand that Oforiatta is sick? What does it mean?
I'm also saying that the law doesn't make room for the investigative authorities to take into consideration whether a person is sick or not sick. That's what I'm saying. It's just a matter of morality, the common humanity of man.
But we are not dealing with morality here.
Yeah, it's just a common humanity of man. ADAKABRI, you're insufficient, you're oh, then the investigative authorities say, who are hospital now? Oh, me call hospital. Okay, and now when do you think you can appear? Minimo, just say doctors no can. But said there, I didn't know corner bear in 1 month time, me humba Tommy. Then on the basis of our common humanity, say it means ka obia, the oil investigator numpo, also to me yari. Because of our common humanity and morality. Inti oh mamano yemano daka kra. And yet because I have Oforiatta, it's just a basis of common humanity. That moral yenina yetimi yare. Into yemman the benefit of that nonsense yare. But and yet excuse for God's sake. And yet excuse. Even if you are standing trial in court and you say you are sick and good the medical report ever quarter, the court can disregard the medical report.
Notwithstanding the gravity of
it's a subjective matter. What gravity? What gravity?
So, now Oforiatta has been put on the wanted list, and the restrictions therein, so he may even have to undergo extradition processes if he's located in any country that we have agreement with. So how is he pushing the whole OSP Oforiatta saga into this realm?
Oh, media, you see, Oforiatta and Omobebri ewo abrochi o, Omobebri adwane already, Omo abrochi, and they are thinking that they are now outside the realm of the jurisdiction of OSP and now the investigative authorities. So that is why the OSP is now seeking mutual legal assistance. Say, you need some countries, that agreement say obiye bone etie ye man no adwona akoshe sa amononi de ye wo sa mutual legal assistance agreement no, he can be arrested and extradited.
Na uka say omumu bebre adwane akwa abroche. How do you know?
I know.
And by extension, the state apparatus know.
They know, yeah, no, they know.
Omu dwane from which shadow?
From the jurisdiction.
For what reason?
Because the investigations this yenina yeti kro ha o. Say investigators no, started. There are interesting persons who are coming up in these matters.
There are interesting persons who are coming up in these matters. Let's just say John Dramani Mahama is more or less moving away from the father for all syndrome of the late Atamils.
John Dramani Mahama did not even believe in father for all, except that his boss, Atamils, believed in father for all. Because John Dramani Mahama believes that people who have committed offenses must be held accountable. Accountability is the name of the game. And the reset agenda cannot be governed or ruled with sympathy. If people have caused a lot of mayhem in this country, have robbed this country, have pilfered this country, have stolen from this country, have dissipated public funds, you don't treat them with kid gloves. Because that is why our hospitals are not functioning. That is why our roads are becoming death traps. That is why our educational system is collapsing. That is why we can't get good water to drink. That is why we have done so. Because what belongs to all of us, some people have decided to take it for themselves and have done that with impunity. So a day of reckoning will have to come. How do you justify, say, obit me the COVID funds, and the Auditor General will say, oh, this is how the COVID funds were utilized. How do you justify those people walking about with impunity? How? How? and now the debt burden at the cocoa board. And then, how do you justify that?
But then for somebody to run away in anticipation of being called into account, does the person know, say, when he's called into account or she's called into account, he may not be able to justify?
So no money.
Let's say, would him nana would him money.
So money. Omuka say, Devi Antimensi. I saw money. Minia. You think that the governor of the Bank of Ghana did not know that the money he was printing was above the legal limits? Meniuka say, you think that the governor of the Bank of Ghana did not know that it was above the legal limits?
Let's just say it was anticipation, say, the NDC wouldn't have won the election.
Because the law is very clear, Anna.
The law is the law.
The law is the law. It is very clear. Say, we were printing money. Yet, to me say you can print money, but don't print beyond 5% of the previous year's revenue. And you know the previous year's revenue. And so if you are printing, if you get to 5% and you still want to continue to print, you have to go back to Parliament and amend the law to be able to do that. You know that. And law is very clear.
But how do we deal with the overreaching powers of the president, where you may be stampeded into doing something which eventually becomes a crime?
There's nothing like stampeding anybody. There's no vicarious responsibility for a crime.
Yet you go ahead to do that.
Yes. So that is your problem.
And then you become liable.
ADAKABRI, this is a conversation. I'm speaking to you in the form of a conversation.
Yeah.
Every state institution established under the Constitution, particularly under Article 195, will have a governing board. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, there are many things that have come out presently. National Service Secretariat. Na omuni governing board na. Inti all the ghost names. Inti no omu de omu inform one. The National Signals Bureau. Na any governing board na. So na any financial controller na. Na any auditor na. So how was the place run?
Let's just say safeguards ni nyina ye digu akwan.
Safeguards ni nyina ye to ago. And where do you think it will lead us to? Yen debt at Cocoa Board. Na yen ni board na. In all this conversation, what to say Obia mentioned the board. Na yen ni wana. Or ECG. Na yen ni board na. Say they were kind safeguards ni nyina. What were they intended for? What were the safeguards intended for?
Then you are asking about the propriety of making laws, the propriety of making regulations.
The fidelity of the law, the fact that we young did on the tree. Because if you are ahead and you follow those institutions and make sure, say, auditor in your internal auditor out here, the financial controller out here, the board has approved, and the board will keep minutes. You have to keep minutes. So you need a giant conspiracy. Unless the institutions, the safeguard institutions, say they were free are not working.
And conspiracies also, coming out of the web, no, and yeah, idea that form.
No, in the phone. Someone will raise an alarm. Say 2 million sky train. Na board na approve ana. Board no approve such canana. Or there was no board. Me friend, there was no board.
Interesting days ahead. Nipa be kura journey ahead of accountability.
You see, you have lost power, and then there are payments pending, and you pay some people who say they have claims against your institution when the new government is in office, and you are exiting.
And there are clear rules so say do not make such payments without consent of the.
On this new government, you have no locals again.
But then Nabia, we a public officer, not necessarily a political appointee.
We are a public officer, not necessarily a political appointee. Now, new government, you will advise that stay payment, for a few days to see how the new government will want to conduct their affairs.
Notwithstanding the amount is overdue.
No, it's notwithstanding. And then all the amounts that were due, they paid all of them.
There are instances overdue amounts were paid later.
And there are instances where overdue amounts are still being subject to auditing at the Ministry of Finance.
To assess the credibility of such payments.
What motivated, encouraged, or moved those payments to be made in clear violation of orders?
So it is not out of place for the OSP to re-enter Kenneth Nanaya Kuntunkunku Furiata's name on the wanted list.
No. I say Ombra. Now, when the first thing happened, I was saying that if Nana Furiata, all that the special prosecutor wanted, all that he wanted the first time was for Nana Furiata to give him a date. Yes, to give him a date when he will come, because here will say to come and assist in investigation. You are not within the jurisdiction. The first time the special prosecutor issued the alert, the red notice, was simply because na Ken Ofurata manu date. So Ken Ofurata was at large. And immediately he communicated, say, Obaba at the end of May, Mikayema, Nipa Bebre, say, the special prosecutor will revoke it. Because next to say a certain date, there's certainty in when Ken Ofurata will report to the special prosecutor. So there will no longer be a basis.
So in the earlier instance, it was not a question of whether Ofuriata Baba announced it was as to when he indeed will come.
No, it was not about Ofuriata yari and on yari. That was not the issue. The issue was when will he come. Now the issue was the date.
Yeah.
Into Onyama date, the special prosecutor had no basis for continuing to keep him on the wanted list.
And then
subsequently,
he also launched a lawsuit against the OSP.
That one is a different matter. So that one, the court will decide that whether if an investigative body, if you are a person of interest, and an investigative body declares you wanted, that overreaches your right. Yeah, so because nobody who has committed a crime, which is subject to investigation, is entitled to a good name.
Tell me more about that.
Say, well, yes, you cannot motivate and you run through the market. And you say that nobody in the market should say that no modu or which is you because you are stolen. Until you are a man of integrity. You can't claim that. You won't even claim it, sir.
And I am not supposed to be thinking you are challenging ABA Fuseni over such idioms.
No. I mean, this one, I'm just related. I'm not giving a proverb. I'm just saying that if you have been accused of having committed a crime, you can again assert that you are entitled to good name.
So the fact of being accused of a crime in itself is not good.
Yeah. The only thing it does is it gives you a presumption of innocence.
Other than that,
You can't say that. People will say that you have been accused of a crime.
Yani Honorable Inusa Fuseni Esquire, he's a former MP for Tamale Central and a former minister for roads and Edin Komo Ekakra etete enoma biase. Now, Yanko Asante Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Chairman Bernard Entwibu Esiako, I San friend Chairman won to me. He's been accosted by the legal processes. First, to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service. He was interrogated and asked to report the next day. He duly reported, and out of the CID, he's also been accosted by the Yoko and has been kept since for 7 days, been released on, been admitted to bail. He's unable to post the bail. And there's this question of, 48 hours, mun charging with an offense. A lawyer and so there be it is a valid detention on the basis there's a valid warrant. I see Tell us the difference between being arrested and a warrant for which you do not have to be processed for court within 48 hours and the simple processes of being interrogated and subsequently charged to appear before a judge.
So, Minia, first of all, you can arrest without a warrant. I wouldn't say ADAKABRI. They say when Mount Tiefund and understand, say, who ADAKABRI? Say what is studio? Who had the power of arrest without a warrant? Yes, sir. In certain situations. Why but fear? Why but two a stranger in your house, killing your daughter or your son? You have the power of arrest. You don't run out of your house, leave the stranger to your son, killing your son while you go to the police station to bring the police to come and arrest that person. You don't do that. You arrest. That's what we call self-help. You arrest that person. But when you arrest, you take that person to the nearest police station. That's the power of arrest. When you're police in it, but you have the power of arrest.
Yeah. Otherwise, they call it the citizen's arrest.
Or a citizen's arrest. So who will be? And that's not without a warrant.
Yeah.
So that's not with a warrant. You just arrest.
Yes.
We call it a crime. The crime occurs in your presence.
Yeah.
So you arrest. Now, police have the power of arrest even without a warrant. Inti na police for almost 60 barriers.
When they have reasonable cause and arrestable offenses being committed.
Yes. And that person is in transit or moving. So one chinoa, he will be lost. So illegal timber there almost yenina one who say we call forest commission, one who say tracks the siho. The forest gas no. Omo warrant. Because the crime is being committed.
Yeah.
And the crime is committed and the vehicle is in transit. And if they don't arrest it, the crime will be lost.
That is on site.
So that's what we must understand. Now, because we have people who are known places of abode, and they might not run away from this jurisdiction. Even before that, say criminal investigative authorities, almost investigative crimes bebree, nipa bebree. Now, while they are in office at 5 o'clock, almost the intelligence report say, Obi will airport check into a flight to fly by 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock on the British Airways. Almost also investigating. You think that they'll go to court and take a warrant?
No.
So we must all understand this. Because who in the conversation said, arresting with that warrant, it appears people are equating it to a crime of a sort. Want a warrant? No, you can arrest without a warrant. Even to me, even in this case, they took a warrant. But I'm saying that even to me was in transit, or there was a allegation and suspicion that he was running away, you could be arrested without a warrant.
Now
when the person is arrested with or without a warrant, you can only keep that person for 48 hours.
Yes.
So,
Rare 48 hours.
Real 48 hours.
Including weekends.
Weekends.
Martin
People's case.
Yes.
Including weekends.
Including public holidays.
Public holidays. 48 hours mean 48 hours.
Yes.
Now, so if within the 48 hours, you are not making arrangements to bring that person before a court of competent jurisdiction, you must release that person on bail. So,
not release that person, no. Release the person on bail.
On bail.
In this instance, the bail condition has been set at 50 million cedis, and people are haggling over the amount. What do you make of that?
Until he has been admitted to bail. So the 48-hour rule has been met.
Yeah.
That has been met.
And you are not able to post the bail.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And instances where subsequently the lead lawyer tells us, say, with the two sureties, Bakwaba were supposed to beyond the 50 million verification of documentation, and they were going to verify the second surety, and notwithstanding, Anna, Omu taking notice of a legal challenge whereby the bail condition was to be asked to be varied at the court.
So the criminal investigative authorities, in exercise of their administrative powers, are admitting the person to bail, a person who is being investigated to bail. And bail conditions are harsh. Even court, if they charge you to court, not lower court or court of first instance, admit you to bail, and the bail conditions are harsh. Every lawyer knows what to do.
When the bail condition is harsh and onerous, every lawyer knows what to do.
Yes, every lawyer.
So sitting behind, did you see the lawyers going by what you would have done?
And the Apia Kubi has been said to be the lawyer, minimum the Kubi.
Yeah. And
the Apia Kubi has been with Wuntumi from the very day that Yoko picked him. And the Apia Kubi has a graphic and detailed understanding of the gravity of the offense for which Kuntumi is being investigated.
Because he would have conferred with him.
Good. And the bail conditions, is normally fixed, taking into consideration the amount involved. Yes, sir. So I do not. I'm not surprised that Andy Apia Kobe did not challenge the bail terms.
And to go looking for the opportunity
go
to
looking
post
for the sureties.
Yeah.
Because on him,
so when to me the person who is the subject of investigation gives authority to Andy Apia Kobe to conduct the matter on his behalf, and subsequently in detention, his wife gives a further authority to Gary Nimakon to proceed to ask the court to vary the bail condition. Which is which?
No. So, Wuntumi was not comatose. There's sanity. Or to me directly the lawyer to act. Where did the wife to derive authority to direct another lawyer?
Possibly next of kin.
Next of kin. I don't want one.
I was able to say you.
So
Because legal issues
because
of this
when I
sort.
heard that me down for my good friend Gary Mafu had Gary Nimaku
Yeah.
had gone to court. No, me say Gary, why? Who has directed you to go to court? Because he was a lawyer in the matter. And even if a lawyer has been announced in the matter, and then the client changes the lawyer, that lawyer, ethics will require, legal ethics will require, the lawyer will write to the investigative authorities, say, I'm no longer, my retainership has been revoked by...
Subject to all legal payments being made.
Now, and then, so I'm no longer a lawyer in the case. Before even Gary can enter the case. It's legal ethics. You can't do that. You can, while there's a lawyer, you can't go into the matter again. So
in this instance, the two lawyers' antics appear to have also egg on the investigative authorities to say,
while they were struggling to post bail, Omonia read from a motion paper from court, which said that a lawyer had gone to court to vary, with an application to vary the terms of the bail bond. And that is what we need to find out, whether that in itself stops the investigating authority from going ahead with the earlier bail. That stopped them. And it is reasonable to stop them. Because, number one, when you file an application to vary the bail bond, and you go to court, and then there is, if it is on notice or without notice, if it is without notice, the court will look at the affidavit evidence. How much is involved and all those things. And what do you think is onerous? The court might even say, because this is an ongoing investigation, why don't you serve the application on notice and let the investigative authorities to come and argue why they have pegged the bail at that amount? So you are saying all this as you do not know the mode by which Gary Nimakumafo went to court? I don't know. So I'm just saying that did he go ex parte or on notice? If he went on notice, then it means that if he went ex parte, the court might say, oh, no, ex parte, let's hear the other side too. Why they put the bail at 50? We don't know. So let's hear. So the court might say, let's go and serve the application on notice. Or the court will say, okay, convince us that the bail bond is high, it's harsh. Now, if the court is of the view that the bail bond is not harsh, the court will say, no, we won't interfere. If the court is of a view that the bail bond is even malleable and yet small, in view of the quantity, the quantum of the money involved, the court can raise the bail. It is a catch-22 situation. Now, if I'm an investigative body, why will I rush to admit that fellow to bail? Because the court might even say, this amount is too much. 50 million appears to be chicken feed. Put it at 100 million. Given the gravity of certain known offenses that have bail bond has been put at 100 million, 120 million. Good. So if I'm investigative body, I will want to wait until the court finishes the matter. And that would have been the more reasonable. The court also thinks that, after looking at the case, I think that reduced the bail bond. Send me the amendment interest in the matter. This time it's now a court bail, sort of. So now the court will ensure that those who are going to provide surety will produce the accused person or suspect anytime we need him. Yes, sir. So even that is another surety on my behalf. I mean, now, as an investigative body, the matter is in court. And then the court says, reduce it and post surety. This is the bail now. They go to court and sign the bail. And then, if I want the distance, I know where to get the accused person. See, the court is not involved. Let's look at the final lap. And the final lap is about lawyer Martin Pebu also saying, the executive director of UCO,
Remonacha, who is also a journalist. He's accusing him of denying the people of Ghana information on why Wontumi is being kept at Yoko and for which matter he's been investigated. What do you make of that?
This is preliminary. With the greatest respect to my brother and friend and colleague, Martin Pebu, it's still preliminary. Very, very preliminary.
That a citizen's liberty is being curtailed, yet Ghanaians do not know.
There are still investigations. The way investigations go on, investigations can go on in other jurisdictions for close to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And don't tell you that they are investigating anybody. In fact, there are many offenses that are being investigated now, but they don't tell anybody.
But at least you have a hint of it by telling us people are running away from accountability.
Well, so it is only when the case matures, then you begin seeing that, but you're going to investigate, and it's a painful, laborious process. You want to get all the facts. And the Attorney General told us that he won't go to court if he's not convinced that he will secure a conviction. So he's putting in effort.
Yentie won so the obekan abra ye koi say the antics of the minority group in parliament walking on the asphalted streets of Accra and camping at the Yoko precinct, which Lawyer Pierre Kubi would not be drawn into that theater, more or less describing that place as a theater. What do you also make of the antics of the minority in scenario?
It had no legal or legitimate footing. You have no matter your status in society, you can't pressurize an investigative body to do your bidding. No matter who you are in society. When Trump was being subjected to investigations in the United States of America, did you see the Republican Party or congressmen marching to the court?
Or maybe the adherents of the center of the right groupings appear not to know exactly Adia Wontumi is being investigated upon. That is why they will march onto the streets.
So if you don't know what Wontumi is being investigated for, your best bet is to tell the investigative authorities to expedite action on their investigations and send that man to court if you believe that the man is innocent.
But where do you almost see Nyano?
You see, if you don't know why, and you believe that the man has not committed an offense, you tell them to expedite actions, almost delay. Tell them no, delay is justice delayed, justice denied. And when you're done court because and the court will exonerate him. But you don't go there and say that they should release him.
Because the BCG said delays are dangerous.
Yeah. So what is? I didn't. Apart from the political theater and securing, try to mobilize their support base after this colossal defeat. I didn't see what it was intended to achieve. And even look at what happened. Finally, when the former vice president said he wanted to meet the Wontumi, and got in touch with the Attorney General. He first got in touch with the Minister of Interior, subsequently with the Attorney General. They arranged for him and his team, a group of 4 or 5, to meet Wontumi. What happened? What did we see? They leaked the information. All the people were camped at Yoko, but they leaked the information to them. Then they started moving the people to NIB.
Is it fair for anybody to suggest Dr. Bawumia blew that opportunity?
I don't know whether it's Dr. Bawumia, but his team blew that opportunity. Definitely. I have no doubt in my mind that his team blew that opportunity. Because I know for a fact that Wontumi had already been taken from the place that he was, and were bringing him to the NIB.
Notwithstanding, it was rearranged, and Dr. Baumia met with Wuntumi in the company of Opari Ansa.
No, I just say his team. I don't know which company. His team. He had a team.
But I'm just saying, sir, the first opportunity that was not to be. Subsequently, the meeting was rearranged when Dr. Muhammad Baumia met up with Wuntumi in the company of his lieutenants, Opari Ansa and another. Right.
So initially there were going to be 4, including the Apia Kobe.
Yeah.
But they blew it.
Let's put it behind us.
They got people to move from Yoko offices to NIB.
Could they have whisked Wuntumi away?
Oh no, but they assess. You see, investigative authorities always assess the risk.
Risk of what?
Risk of the commotion.
Not risk of flight.
No, commotion. What commotion? And what will be the outcome of the commotion? Can you anticipate what will happen?
Disorderliness.
The disorderliness. How will that disorderliness play out?
Breach of public peace.
Wouldn't to me, and then they would then be blamed for having downplayed the risk.
Meanwhile, in their custody, I'm responsible for Wuntumi to say, "Bibi then they are called."
Then they will say, you were not professional.
Right. Yes, and then so a driver for and name what Tamale Street so. I then am Motrasman and tree pam cars every Tamale Street so.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. So I just hope that this chief executive new one even Accra around Medina, that one day I was driving and I cross the road. It's totally unacceptable. So it's just that animals must be kept, but they must be kept in safe places and removed from where in interactions with interactions. They must be kept, yes, but we should keep them in their pens wherever. Tamale, Accra, Cape Coast is part of the indiscipline. It's part of the indiscipline. And here in this country, indiscipline. If we charge indiscipline, it can fund the national budget.
Okay. Young Fancy, I say, quite an interesting discussions we've had with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, there was a honorable.
And that's it.
Right. Inti, inusa, saying, Anna, no action common. Na yankin kind, messages kakra on Facebook Live, no so. NDC doom so. Oh, come on. Frank Boatin Ejakwa. Also, do not forget the word alleged. Okay. And then Frank Boatin Ejakwa na. How do you stop prosecuting Upuni and others? And Samuel Tanku. I say, good afternoon, Wafa. Mahama is the hope for Ghana. Your senior co-character said no government can reduce goods and items in this country. He now saw it physical, so he should understand that with Mahama, nothing is impossible. Richard Donko, also Bata ADAKABRI, Wuntumi was granted bail within 48 hours. It's up to him to fill the bail condition. It's not the duty of Yoko to free him. Eichmann, also Wafa ADAKABRI, why is Maurice Ampa blaming Apostle Osubempa and John Dramani Mahama for arresting Wuntumi? Maurice Ampa should go and bail him, or Maurice Ampa is no more lawyer again. Watching you live from Mönchengladbach in Germany. Sandra Banafu, I say, I laugh anytime I hear Unisa radio teaching us law, pass, ADAKABRI, he is misinforming us. the writ filed by Gary doesn't stop lawyer Piakubi from proceeding because it wasn't an injunction, but rather variation. What's this Unisa talking about? Andrew Kotoko Kese, ADAKABRI Mahmudu. Good day. I cherish your dress today. Looking smart. Emmanuel K. Yamwa K. Emmanuel. Good afternoon, Father Kabri. Please tell Okujeto Blackwater we, the discerning people, demand his resignation. And then Andrew Kotoko Kese again. ADAKABRI Frimpong Manso. Anytime I listen to Honorable Yunus Afuseni, my appetite for law rises. He's so apt and honest on his submissions. I wish I get a chance to mentor him. Watch him from Hohoi. Get a chance for him to mentor you or you mentor him. Yakubu, Dombote, offensive Kaira. Owo mi amese wa mechiao. Neka Brahima, Neka Irahima, amese wa mechia papa. It's long time, Ghana Bayer, the President Mahama is doing a great work. Ebenezer Mafu. Good afternoon, ADAKABRI Mahmudu. Please, I don't think anybody is saying Chairman Wontumi should be freed. The argument is that this government is abusing the fundamental human rights of Wontumi with regards to due process. What does the Constitution say about a suspect in detention? Cecil Kwabena. I'm not surprised Lawyer Ndiakubi is highly respected by both parties. It's not about making noise on the streets, but sitting at a round table to negotiate in a lawful manner. Chairman has a good lawyer that can pull strings to his favor. He could have been on Friday. He could have been out Friday evening if there was a proper communication between the family and Apiakubi. Eichmann again of ADAKABRI. My wife likes pa. And they just said, my wife likes you pa. Reminiscent of what somebody told me. You like me, you don't love me. She's watching you live from Mönchengladbach in Germany. Obapa Mechiao. Berryman Anakojo, good afternoon, Uncle. I'm watching you live from Australia, Sydney. May God bless you for the good work you are doing for Mother Ghana. Amewuga Kudalo. What is Kenufuriata afraid of? Better for him to come and do the do. If not, he will not like what will come. And then Richard Donko, Ozzy ADAKABRI, you are the best for radio. You read every message. You don't discriminate. Continue your good works. And then Eichmann again. Well, ADAKABRI, my wife likes you, pa. Watching live from Mönchengladbach. Hey, where the assembly by Eichmann? Obviously, I know you like me, you don't love me. I'm saying, hey, assembly to me. And then the Pacrono is a Mekako family or womb. I'm a woman be busa and the entire workers are some natural me. Hey, assembly. Na young share, na a fee need you mind. Na if you say another interview, beba, na yadi actual. Ma young share a year, voice be ewaha. Na if you say, dear, you bet me a swing freeze our voice no. Na you will be a dear fufu. Ebe kwa kobo. In the voice no ha say. Yan hwe de betimi enya de free sa voice no. Na ye hwe de betimi asua e de from ti yusu na tewaso. Voice no ewo brofo kasem. Abi wa rehemu de bia e betimi abayi na ye nyina no. Yate asem na se. Na ya hwe de betimi de aye.
Go to Denmark, they teach in Danish. Go to Norway, they teach in Norwegian. Go to Sweden, they teach in Swedish. Go to Finland, they teach in Finnish. Go to Korea, they teach in Korean. Go to China, they teach in Chinese. Go to Japan, they teach in Japanese. Then they meet the world. But you and me, here I am waxing eloquent in English. We were told that all the education we had acquired meant nothing. So that if you are eloquent in Ga or in Twi, you are not intelligent. You are only intelligent in English. You can only be intelligent in French, in Portuguese. We now know that that is nonsense. When that great Nigerian musician in the 1980s, fella Nicola Pokuti said, "Teacher, don't teach me nonsense," he meant it. He was reminding us that we must examine our education system. You know, when the British came here and they were establishing schools across Africa, and then when they were establishing Achimota, which is famous for producing great Ghanaians, the intention was to produce young men and women who would support the colonial empire. The intention was the same in Uganda with Budo's King's College. It was the same in Kenya with the Alliance schools. As Chinua Achebe says, the white man was clever. He came and put a knife in the things that held us together, and things fall apart. That we have now become famous for producing graduates in agriculture, some of whom, if you allow me a little latitude and hyperbole, cannot distinguish between a goat and a sheep. When we want to build our roads, we have engineers, most of whom today, if you do not address them as engineers so and so, they rise up, ready to beat you up. But yet, when we are building our highway from Accra through to Winneba, through to Cape Coast, through to La Côte d'Ivoire, it is the Chinese that I see, which calls into question, what type of engineering are we teaching? We are producing doctors, and they are good, some of them. But yet, when those of us who have the ability are sick, unless they do not know, they want to be airlifted to Dubai and to Germany. They have no faith in our medical system. When we are sick during COVID, all Africa is crying to America, "Oh, give us Moderna, give us Pfizer," to the Russians, "give us Sputnik." We are crying. Yet we have universities with professors in medicine. We must re-examine our education system, even in matters as mundane as sports, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The United States of America offers our young men and women scholarships to study sports. Our universities don't. Football is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But yet, when one of the masters of ceremony was speaking in jest, it is not the anthem of Asante Kotoko that he remembered, but that of Liverpool, "We shall not walk alone." Theosagiefo was right when he said, we may actually solve the economic problem. We may even solve the political problem. But I dare say that the mental problem which was impacted and makes us feel inferior will take a little longer to solve. In 1933, Carter G. Woodson, that African-American educator writing in his book, Miseducation of the Negro, said that we have been so miseducated for so long. Our self-esteem has been undermined for so long. We have been made to use the back door for so long that even when we are told to use the front door, we look for the back door, and if we can't find it, we create our own back door. The level of our miseducation is amazing. We must change it in order to enter into the 21st century. Today, if I stood here and asked young Africans, and there is no shortage of them here, how many African authors do you know? And I asked, which is the last book of Chinua Achebe that you read? Or Kofi Awunor? Or Aikwe Yama? or Kamara Lai, or Flora Nwapa, or Dambisa Moyo, or more recently Chimama and Ngozi Dichie, or Yagiansi. How many have? We have been made to believe that it's only Shakespeare and Charles Dickens that matter. The Osagiefo, to whom Africans owe an apology, wrote in his great book, Neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism, and the most dangerous. We are in that stage. That stage when the colonizer still wants us to believe that our literature is inferior, that our science does not exist, that our mathematics does not exist, that we have no medicine to talk about, that we cannot mine beyond Galamsey, that we cannot extract our own oil, that we have no business being in robotics and cryptocurrency, that we must be consigned to the Museum of History alongside the spinning wheel, that we have no business being in the jet age. That is what we are being told. And my fear is that we appear to be believing it. If we are to give meaning to our independence, then education must be our focus. So said Ethiopia's Haile Selassie. If we want to change the continent of Africa, we must give meaning to education. So said Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania on that day. If we are going to change my little Senegal, we must give education priority. So said Leopold Sedar Senghor of Senegal. Even the complicit Félix Houphouët-Boigny in La Côte d'Ivoire believed so. When you see our judges dressing, they still dress like Father Christmas. Whoever told us that justice could only be administered when you dress like Father Christmas, I do not know. We live in a world where we are so mentally captured that those of you in the middle class, your greatest claim to fame is that my daughter can no longer speak Chui, and is meant to be a badge of honor. It is a badge of complete colonial conquest. And we cannot enter the 21st century with that mindset. Go to the countries in the Scandinavia, which we can dare compare ourselves with. Go to Denmark, they teach in Danish. Go to Norway, they teach in Norwegian. Go to Sweden, they teach in Swedish. Go to Finland, they teach in Finnish. Go to Korea, they teach in Korean. Go to China, they teach in Chinese. Go to Japan, they teach in Japanese. Then they meet the world. But you and me, here I am waxing eloquent in English, not in Kiswahili. We must revamp our curriculum. I suspect you are either using Samsung or Huawei. What did China do 30 years ago? They made a decision that we are going to change our education system. And they changed the education system. They engaged in agriculture. They engaged in technology. They engaged in medicine. They engaged in everything. And today China is the second strongest economy in the world, with a GDP of no less than 19 trillion United States dollars. The time is now for us to change our minds. Today I'm saying that we cannot remain imprisoned in history and lamentation. That is why it is still true for you Ghanaians. Nkrumah is dead, but Nkrumah never died.
Luta and what cassette a year. I didn't know when you are any depa. Nyaduji William was the MPP is party of comedy and party with lies. So and Richie Donko was a wonderful lessons from Professor. Africa have a long way to go. ADAKABRI, one of the things Africa needs to focus on is religion. The way we understand it and go about it have to change. Vida Atakara, what's he saying? Well, it's true. You read every message on your program, no matter the words they use, but no papa see them want me, no papa. Papa see he works very hard. He will continue to be who he is. And I take into consideration your feelings. Why? Richie Donko, as all religious activities must be taken from our education. Thank you, ADAKABRI, for playing this voice. and what they ebaye. In the studios this afternoon, Benjamin Esari of the New Patriotic Party, John Apple of the National Democratic Congress, Richard Suma of the Movement for Change, and what you know about translate. Richard, now what is saying? Good. I said, be okay here, baby. I don't know yesterday.
My baby, asa.
Nandia, I'm much to party. More money.
I do it to me.
Yes, oh, Allah. And Richard,
yeah, Father Cabrin. Yeah, chia with you for your age, the production team of NIT FM as we are away. Such is the idea.
Dollar no ejina anate gusu kofom ana ebe kosro. Speculators there near ye de say wo man mu no ma.
In fact, dollar no de e coming kwan dia and coming ya and ka betimi apegeno at a certain level, should cap it at a certain level. Because ye hwena ye pese ye di politics na ye be ye dia betimi ya bia so that the dollar can become like 5 cedi to the dollar or 7 cedi to the dollar. They said they are kind and it will really affect export. Now who exporting yama the value of the currency will be nya who the bar who change the kwa a gold new bia who export bia no the value will definitely come down and
your manufacturing base no
the manufacturing base will also be affected and minya ka bit me capping at a certain level. I would have reached 5
cedis 7 cedis
10 cedis should be ideal for us for now. You're capping at 10 cedis and can be fine. 10 cedis to the dollar.
You are looking for stability. Resilience.
Exactly so. So that we don't allow it to be flat. Fluctuation in a year, any problem no ba. Say ne aya 8, or China aya 9, or China aya 11, Asamba back to 11. You see, it affects
but
planning.
Alan John Kojo Martin, the Great Transformation Plan. That's a true BB actually. Because in that plan, what true say I was say yetimi shema dollar na ba certain level. Na your balance between your manufacturing. Na your share in imports. Enti sa ade na wo Great Transformation Plan mo no. Eno na John Dramani wo use ya na.
There be me sure because in fact say Great Transformational Planning the Ghana for na yen share that pesa yebeka and the correct now ya ne hu to say like NDC and MPP and no matter document are all presenting
because in that document
that Great Transformational Plan
there's CD to this
level was like a blueprint a blueprint to steady stabilization
because
job creation
President can say at a point or see jai and yes say normal
of course because we cannot be an import driven economy alone. The export is very very important. Now say one year a reliable dollar rate and now to say they can a resilient CD against the dollar now, definitely it will affect export. Anything I can say the Great
Transformation Plan was say from a period of instability. Now we would about stability.
Yeah.
Now about growth. Now we call resilience. Now we call prosperity.
Exactly. Once we are breaking it down. So as at now, we have not even gotten to resilience stage, yet.
Debbie.
Yeah, do resilience. The IE woman is say we are trying to believe.
Ubenya stability. The stability naturally no. And I feel now we focus on growth. The growth in the bar and sana we call resilience. Now what me call a prosperity.
Yes.
No.
And I say, it's a breakdown. No, economy is here. We are not investing much into productivity. We are not investing into the productive sectors of the economy.
Nene Akpo Buachi Ejakon would want us to read a message and take a cue from the message. What's the ADAKABRI? We cannot capture the dollar. We move away from the fixed exchange rate regime to a flexible and now to a free loading regime. Mm-hmm. Are people suggesting that we go back to a fixed exchange rate regime? It's asking.
Yeah,
but we should really have a discussion, a narrative about it. Because what the president and not all can give him so to say, and so at the great transformation plan come man no. I've been wondering. And now your sabe can say at a point we should stop it, we should cap it, so that it does not erode the gains in the manufacturing sector. No,
the way can one say we live in a liberal economy. Fine, yet you say you must allow the dollar or the CD a free range to operate, whether appreciation or depreciation. Or no, there is a liberal economy. But if you look within yourself, and then you have to understand what is good for your economy. And then I can say, don't allow the dollar to get to a certain threshold. A ban in Sana, you are going to affect another aspect of your economy, which already we want to promote export. And it is said the great transformational plan there can on him said there is deficit with what? Production. There is deficit with manufacturing and all these things. So the only way to do it is to make sure that you strengthen your export. And export can only be obtained through what? Manufacturing. Because so far, no, export, they say exporting your cocoa in the raw form. You exporting your timber in the raw form. You exporting your oil in the raw form. We are not doing any finishing before we are exporting. And it's a bit on that path there. That means obviously the production sector will highly be affected. And then I can say, in an economy like Ghana and an emerging economy, no, what he's saying that we should allow the city to have a free range, should not be entertained. Should not be entertained because you must make sure, say, with productive base, you are also considering the international GM Lankasaka says allow say the dollar baffling too much now. A bit affected the export-driven aspect, which is manufacturing. So the I can say, per what we stated in the Great Transformational Plan, it was a blueprint to economic transformation of Ghana, where the resilience would have come from expanding our infrastructure base in the area of manufacturing and agro-processing. But here lies the case, NDC government need critically. They are doing what we call the peripherals, the basic thing I call here, enkuko buo kitikini, omwako launchi, coders program, launchi way, but yeah, the blueprint, he said, this is the blueprint I had us to move the country forward to get to the stage of resilience and growth and prosperity. So prosperity can only come when there are surpluses. And it's a surplus thing. Where would the prosperity come from? So far in the area, and say we are trying to control the appreciation of the cedi against the dollar. But that notwithstanding, we must still ensure that we have a fair way of capping it at a certain level. Then we capitalize the production base of the Ghanaian economy so that we can expand more and export more. That is the only way we can have that resilience and that growth. But we share Ghana no one say pay collaboration. As I now I would have thought say John Mahama would have brought in Alan Tremantin at a certain level, okay, and put him at a certain position now. Onusube to me up contributed to what? The resilience and the growth of the Ghanaian economy now or advocating. But here lies the case after receiving the copy of the Great Transformational Plan. They have never called the man. They have never invited him to any meeting again. They have never, for once, want to tap into his great ideas. So, in this regard, how would the country move forward? And the best right, JM in the administration is don't look at people, look at what they have in their head. Alan has a lot of information, especially that Great Transformational Plan now, it has it's a panacea to some of our problems, And the best right, JM say, Obia advocate say, Fred Alan Namanu position here. Alan is not pleading for any position. But at least, if you are talking about an export-driven or economic growth, and now this is your 24-hour economy, or you are looking at how to turn this country's economy around, I would have wished that some consultancy role, now, it should have been offered by now. And it should be a public knowledge that maybe Alan has been offered this consultancy work.
So, Boache Jakun want us to read this again, or say, you keep the stability of the exchange rate by what you do with your monetary and forex policy and your fiscal policy on the one hand, and your macroeconomic policies in the real goods sector. Your productivity of the economy depends on all these variables. If nature said the question of say economics, able to meet the stability of brain, near growth, and subsequently attain resilience and prosperity for all, it is within our grasp.
Of course. It's achievable. And it's simple.
I didn't try over the years.
Said in America say, they said they are all thirsty. We say no. You see Ghana no. They said they America no. A lot of people have sufficient ideas and knowledge, but we don't bring them to the fold. They be no. If you don't belong to us, whatever you have in your mind, no, we are not ready to work with it. Say banu sadia manu into me call him because the echoes is here no. It is about everybody's bringing their idea on board, all hands on decks. That is the only way you're able to move the country forward. And it said they are all cancer fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline, so I won't hear because the moment you are spending what you don't have, you are plunging the country into a complete chaos. And then they are affecting the stability of your currency. And you know, the Mahamani administration in terms of controlling the fiscal space, you know, that they don't overspend, they don't stretch too much, they are spending within their means, even though it's going to affect certain sectors of the economy in terms of infrastructure, in terms of export, in terms of manufacturing, you know, but at least, no, the austerity measures whereby it will help. And now too, they said the city is also just like any other currency in the global space. And every country that wants their city or their currency to be strong, resilient, and all these things, no, it depends on manufacturing and export. It is manufacturing and export that gives you a guarantee, say, you can have a stable currency. But say,
manufacturing, no, any export, no, expensive. When I call.
And I make sure say there must be a deliberate policy. Say manufacturing sector there, either we are going to give a lot of tax waivers, we are even power sector. No, I was advocating say we need to decouple domestic consumption from industrial consumption, so that there should be a dedicated supply of power for industrial purposes, so that those who are in the manufacturing, no, they should pay less, and they should have a sustainable power generation for what? For manufacturing. And then again, too, some of the raw materials now, production, we import them. So why don't we look into sometimes producing some of the materials from within? So producing materials from within, it will let the cost of production become less. If cost of production is lesser, many people will go into production. But the only area people who want to go in the area of production is alcoholic beverages into non-alcoholic beverages, a bit of steel, a bit of iron, a bit of cement, a bit of basic consumables. What you say, and you know, until we do a strategic planning, say this area, we want to be self-sufficient, self-dependent, by encouraging many entrepreneurs to go into these areas now. That is the only way we can grow, and then give them good incentives. The incentives are not there. The motivation is not there. And in the person going to business, the risk factors are too many. There are too many. And you know, the risk analyst now catch us say when you are going to this sector, the chances of you succeeding is high. The chances of you not succeeding is so high. It becomes problematic. Anything a bank will bring of ADAKABRI, they don't want to give you loan. Why? They say 99% of startup businesses in Ghana, they don't succeed. 99% of startup businesses in Ghana, they don't succeed.
And do you know why?
So production costs need the external factors no do. The external factors no do. Cost of electricity, even labor crop they encounter because we pay labor so cheap. Labor they say cheap. Labor is cheap. But why are we not doing more into manufacturing? We share our trade balance deficit now for ADAKABRI. I open knowledge that we import more than we export. We export just about 10% and we import about 90%. So why are we not putting much of our resources into agro business? Why are we not? Of ADAKABRI, why are we not? For instance, our sanitary pad we are buying with Crampo say or Babe producing our chama school colonial the idea. I don't know which companies have been identified so far. I don't know what incentives government see or Maomu. My name is government 32 was say see we empower many people into the production of Sanyamanu na anka. Instead of saying you imported the sanitary pad and all these things, we produce it more in Ghana. It would have been helpful. So all we are saying is that Mahamani now by the way our things are going on for ADAKABRI in the shortest possible time. I am not a naysayer or predicting any doom, but I will not be surprised if by next year the cedi start depreciating again the dollar. I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if the cedi start to depreciate again the dollar. because we are invested so far in the productive sector of the economy. No, we are not doing anything. How much have we invested into agriculture so far? What is the strategic plan for agricultural development, expansion, and capacity building in that space? What is the strategic investment plan for the rice production industry? What are we doing for that? In the area of palm kernel development, what are we doing about that? And nekra the palm oil. We import palm oil of ADAKABRI. We import palm oil. What is the strategic plan towards that? How many palm plantations do we have in this country? Zero. Apart from the one Kwame Nkrumah established, as of now, we've not been able to do any. Look at rice. We share the Afran Plains, the vast opportunity that lies there for us to grow more of our own rice, add value to it, create a lot of market for it, and then export for us to have a reliable supply base. Yes, so if the city start to depreciate again the dollar, don't say we didn't say it. And to the I can say, in order for you not to be playing political game, now you are expecting that the dollar should hit like 5 CD to the CD. No, oh yes, there you are going to damage the country's economy in the long run. So that's why I'm of the view that we should cap it at a certain level, so that at least the businessman, the investor, know that the CD is 10 CD to $1. If it is 1 CD to $1 to 10 CDs, at least fair enough, we can manage and operate within that space. And one I can say, let us invest more in the productive sector. I still insist that I look forward to the day Allah will be invited and brought on the table for him to contribute his magnitude of mind and wealth of experience and power in the area of trade, in the area of agro-business, in the area of manufacturing and expansion and all these things.
Nah, the president of the republic have hinted that there is going to be a boost for cocoa production, cocoa farmers, to the extent, say, you best set up factories in the cocoa producing area to add value to cocoa. And also, we are going to give them more money for their produce. With this, if we have a manufacturing base and cocoa production, the farmer also getting more money. The panacea for it say Ghanaian Times and the president no can say and the cocoa for or beshe na ya momo ebua ekwa animu na fe nso no ya hwe na ya de mfidi nyuma akosisi mmea no a edua cocoa no dodo no na yetimi asachire mu ama aye enipa bi de ama Ghana yedwadie no a ni nyina so ka ho bi ebema ye ho ahare yen ana
ampa no de betimi aboa on say o hwe the Japanese model na Japan for no more be a friend of cottage industries and to know enclave bia within the Japan say fan say this area is noted for pineapple production and here no omo establish cottage industries how make me process pineapple no into finished product and to omo hwe enclave say ya cocoa production area and yes say omo harvest cocoa no omo dey ba a central place and say no more production no they set up small cottage industry at a certain capacities of operation and you know say mahama aban eka say omo pese omo empower cocoa production no omo pese omo boost cocoa production no na omo sisi micro factories what the production enclaves now and then akaya the papa but many at times in Ghana no we talk but we don't deliver and then I have a problem. Brilliant ideas, good ideas, but you find here Juma.
But at least 1D 1F say Beme Nigeria ni ebuni ni krasa cement ni Dangote say watimi ajia to say 1D 1F no ebe boy China dey ya wo kan say Japanese model cottage industries yes e dey ni see aban we kwan say obetimi improve upon the yaye our one district one factory
of ADAKABRI onim the number of companies member company bia mu dey wa onim company dudu 1D 1F initiative we buy no they access the facilities no all right but omo afan yehwe you see Ghana no ye mind bia obia is looking for an opportunity to milk the country dry enti no nyama no bi wo ho a a good policy proposal, good strategy plan, but you find ye juma. He said cocoa dia me can say. NDC Omaba Bemuda, we've lived in this country. NPP NDC about Bemuda. Omar 7-8 years da. Why didn't they practice any of these things? They didn't practice it. Now we the finance minister Eka said they are going to acquire 200,000 hectares of land to grow cocoa. Now they are boosting cocoa production. Me say a good idea, but I can bet my last penny that government 24 years based now 1 acre of cocoa crop no yenyanduaye. And to the aye can say there must be non-politicization of certain aspects of our growth. And we must set up a committee of technical people are devoid of partisan politics. Now sa technocrats no omuna omu beba into the mainstream no now one mandate omu to look at our country, map the country into about 4 zones. Now, in each and every zone, no, where is our strength? Nema ben what the raw production capacity. Then now, no, you bring in technocrats who then now sit with the outgrowers. Now, omuni outgrowers now then atenancy. Now outgrower ne who say see no say yeah pineapple we ha. Aban si oba my small equipment. She Safo Kantanka say of ADAKABRI. Look at Safo Kantanka. She equipments are Safo Kantanka air producing up to now. Identina abambia onto mini or Safo Kantanka antinasi. Say look, if you are talking about basic agro processing equipment, now we want an MDA sobe premier producer. Why don't we empower you, capitalize you, produce more, distribute to the people free range? Now omu producer, sikana omu benya, now omu payment plan. And he said, now you produce cocoa. Now you say, Safo Kantanka bet me produce a cocoa processing machine. I bet me processing, let's say 2, 3, 4 tons of cocoa a day. Why don't you empower such an individual? Tina Sisi now who says Safo Kantanka, he should pass away now. All who's here now who the kind of tribute you will read to him. Look at the country that we are running. The man is trying to demonstrate to the world, say, nim die no enye brofo enye broni kwa na nyansa won trim bibi ni so betumi ya bibi, but we are not ready to work with our own. And now me can say, look at salt mining in Ghana of ADAKABRI. Salt mining, it is the goal of the century, because Ghana apart from Nansia way of Magdan occur into large scale salt mining here. We have been mining salt at alluvial level, just say minor level na the salt mining. When Nigeria, your next door neighbor here, Nigeria don't have salt. They import salt from Brazil. And salt sunu is one of the major requirements in the petrochemical industry. So there is no petrochemical industry where we are here that they don't require salt. So what is the strategic plan? That's why we have to go back to the great transformational plan. What you say? Because
this is a Chile free Venezuela and the
Yeah. In Chile, Ghana and Nekra in Chile, we are importing salt.
Anunti ena Ibrahim Mahama ebeka se eye na ese Kwame despite ni sika na excavator and the sika na rare money. If we say bia U2 iodidated salt no unimi investment that Dr. Kwabnado for na kind white gold.
Yeah.
Intino say na ese Kwame despite eye investment in salt na ene o yedie na koma so opa. Nkiti bibiti ono mana ya church sama kese.
No, you see, my boss say no, he's a visionary. People like that, they are able to predict. You see, your friend may be in marketing say the only way you can succeed in marketing is say to identify, you should identify, anticipate, and satisfy the needs of consumers profitably. Okay, then you must be able to anticipate. You must be able to identify and to share my boss. I don't know the caliber of people who surrounds him, but me sure say was surrounding him with great visionary, with great minds. What you say? So they are able to advise him. Need to say most of the thing he does it here, me boy.
This morning, me offer say Kwabena Safwa wrote something about Nese Kwame despite on Facebook. And then this is what he puts up. Or say, he keeps on flourishing every year. The KGTR spirit. First, when he first established the Tree radio station in the capital, haters said it wouldn't last here in Accra. Nobody would tune in. Then 2, when he turned 50 years and bought his first Rolls Royce, the haters once again said, that's too flashy and opulent. Then, when he decided to establish a Tree TV station, again the haters said, that's very expensive. He can't afford nationwide coverage. He thinks content creation is that easy, eh? Then he did what? When he spent $2.7 million to construct children's block at 37 Military Hospital, the haters again were on course. He overly trying to endear himself. Then, when he donated $100,000 to the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi during the COVID period, the haters were on call again. What about those in Accra and beyond? Then he bought a $3 million Bugatti during his 60th birthday, and the haters once again said, I spent so much money. Where is he going to drive it? Then he did what? He established Best Point Savings and Loans in 2012, and the haters once again were saying, he thinks banking is like selling at KGTR. It won't last. Best Point is on. Then, when he reconstructed the Tesano police station and with the quarters built a Wiamasi police station, then they said he's trying to buy up the security services. Whenever reshaping of East Legon is attributed to him and his crew gets commended for inspiring business partnership and employing thousands, the haters would always say, we are waiting for the day he becomes a fodder for negative headlines. Then, Boachi Matres was the first person to build a full-service private hospital. BM Kusi was the first person to build a house with an artificial lake. So, what's wrong with Osei Kwame despite being the first person to open an automobile museum? Ben, let's Kwame despite on Kasabibre. Now, I recall an encounter with him, and those words continue to ring bells in my ears. Just a jijima sum de bia. Oye na nkomodidie no mo. Am ka so. Ya medua koko. No so sa. E no kire me the greenhouse a. Odua eye tomankese. E no ka kire me say koko eno pe ene eye real estate ene ni broni sika ko Ghana ha say wo ye koko farmer udua koko ana say wo usisi ada real estate a eno pe ene ni broni sika ekọ Ghana ha enti koko no menyere me hu na me nua ne yie eno kan so I was like taken aback say hey na so me chairman ankasa nese kwa me despite be ma bia onkasa bebre na wonne kasa kakra bi na wo so be ma waso ada ho a ubenya bibia firi ne ho a ubetimi dia boobra edidie na menin hia mu kakra bi nkomodidie mu ana the can say, oh, medua koko, I can't radio adwuma ho. Hey, ere ya sem papa. Ti me kire no baby kura mfuo ni nyina wo ma me onokro kan say, ere ya no apɛ koko asase ne bia ma me. Na some o ka kire me to masom ni say, eye koko no, eno enna ni broni sika. So wo yes adwuma say, wo do koko na usisi adan a anu na ni broni sika eko right say koko no bag ba ko 64 kilos no 3,000 cedis and as say 3,000 cedis no so no ubetimi de anya dollars de do san So who know? Yampan say, would they yampan 10 krano? Now just say 3,000 cedis, Romanian dollars is saying
$300.
$300. A bag of cocoa. Now ubenya $300 every month. Now what she says $300 no. Would the $150? Na $150 in the first year. She do bet me the eye. No cancer 7 cents. Many of them. That I'm no cocoa chile now. Udia to monkey say. Udia to monkey say. The green farm. The greenhouse on them. And on the share. Nanui. And now wash a stiff white shirt. Short sleeve. That the CBB's type of be. And the word dria body. Na what she said was sauce canum. Na said there will see a sum body. I would chance our body. But yet they say, Mranti and Mabawa over 500 comments. 95% na a focused on Aden was a white shirt.
No deep body.
No deep body. As opposed to say, no onumpo and no crocotocro, our deep body. Na body no chayano. Then what think can I say? Na your pen say,
Put me body.
Put me dear body. Meti coco a year edifree foam a buy and craho. And ne, your dear coco, no my tico no one craha. A bokobi. Man, I can't say and cry. You bet me a dear coco. Enti, ya nipper be war. On Casabe Bray, but or Guinea a share ni move bray, say, Fan Spring for the back, I say. Drink quine a mountain crab tree. So no. Say on Casabebre na or Caswan and one no. Sandy pay, who present to a 15-year of Casabe Auto Museum. Dear Senka Yadi John Dramani Mahama Betanaso. January 7, 2025. Yes, sir. So or transfer for 4 years. The December 2028, you better abanyesa. Near the next president, Sisu, January 2029. The time of John Mahama buy no, in fear 9, and ye bebun konta. Tizenka also can say, Miss Minya Bibi, nem fear 9 no. Ye bu John Draman in konta no. Nam men so me bu Miss Median konta. Adiana wo ye, I bet me bun konta.
Ofa, medasi bebre, mencha na mencha o T4, na mencha Minua Richard. Ofa I say I in the pankasa nti say yewura ose kwa me despite on kasa bibra na chere say oyo obi a onyina ba bia nkasa by heart na say enye ba bia na say na sem bi ebefi nanumu aba bia no ade a wo ben no na oye din na wutie na obetime de abobra. This uncle for na bed then say always be abenyi omo wo ba bi so omo kasa. Na we example at the youth of this country. And semwa ye can defa no hono de eno de eye den a ibenya nsemo aka fa ho abra wotu anamoko wanim no. Because Ghana no hatred na nkasa na dosun bebre. Nipa na ono ka ho asem no oni hwe onye adwuma ontimi ma obra bia ba obi no abo ne bra a wabie nwuma afa manfo adwuma mu a otu omoka every month a ohwe a lot of homes a eboa nipa asetena mu no eno no omo nka ho ne nipa no bra obre ene obre wi a ne obenya wachire no eno na manfo pese omoka ho asem na emom ekwaya a ofa so build no ho no de amanfo mpese omo behwe saa kwa no so no omo asua de afrim nti saa video ya o kan mehwe me hu se social media o twa bode no ne and ofa eno kire wo se wote akra ha na wo so ubetimi adua bode now the body aye business kra na baby a wote na nkasa no e kire wo so ubetimi adua bode ahwe ni ye atwa no wa make skef everybody dua num because ono wo bibia nyamese ye nka no kre ye wi ose kwa me despa bibia o person no nya wasazi zu bia no ye betimi aka se owo bi enso no sekanyu ono ana be so sekamu akotwa bode owo nkwala bebre owo omo a omo be kwa akotwa bode no de ama no but na e kasem bi e de kire ye ni nyina ne se ewiase no ba bi a waduru bia na emma wo ho so bebre bro ho ase na suane ema na suade because se wunya encounter with him just 30 minutes and I said 10 minutes. That's when me and Suya BB and Fan Free Europe or say Kwame despite what they are now one Casano, Unimu Kwaya person of Faso Bobra. Because she history, our de start here. Abakosem yes no ton cassette PZ Kumase and no cassette no cry say na sen what the ahihye wo plywood so and the sen no kon ho afi yes bonachi no okura radio ni and wo hwe na chassis a de start here na che say eyade a wa bre ni moja ni abobra na baabi a wa beduro no nso no nyame ni nhira ka nti ni ode ne nsa beso bia no eye nhira nti ni eye hu no enani 3 days o zenra no eno no de eye adom akyede ne bra ye papa no wabo a ehye
ene betimi afiri mu aba ama watu nsa afre wohene kese sante kotoko hene na wono soso ahye na nimunyam aba abesina kwa akotena se na wohwe se kotoko hene ti wo na papa Jonkofo tene nchen na eye chief of intelligence eye me papa Lawrence Prempe ni a confedi eto na eye apagya esoso na no so afriye na omote na asiedu nketea eso eto aso na wohwe nipa ba ya eboye mu ase na o ma menua bai eye adwo ebo agei na wo kyerɛkyerɛ mu amsi si apia ho eni enti sa nipa no na o twa body a na 95% of over 600 comments no shirt no mufri say shirt ni too expensive so the twa body as opposed to the messenger body channel e de be man
ofa sa shirt na no no mo make comment na e ho sika e yo musika ono no baabi a waduro no ni sika a wode beto shirt no wunya akra sa sika no betimi de ayadwuma unhwe no ho asem nka wo so wa shirt de atwa body ofa yeru akwa osekwa me despa oye o manager pade o nti enye nwanwa se otumfo o se tutu nana yebo nidi ana ya boye muso so obetutu ne nan abahade nanim onyam abeta adwumadie na odi ye nachi yeru a dia wuo kofo former president ono nso beba chese ofa se obie muso obi amra ka ba bi oye program no kra ka titiru ne abrempon no kra ka hokra no ko mo nko ho enti ofa enye me nwanwa se sampanimfo we nyina ede wo mo anim onyam beta adwumadie na ekoso na chi na no kra no me so ofa wo ye se obie mu a ka wan hwe hokra na nko ho je se ke kokope Accra Sports Stadium ya kwa ye program no
onu ankasa etimate ebo anan eba ne personal baba ho Alhaji Faruku wompie nko ba bia adama heya na Alhaji tie ena oba be kacha Alhaji Faruku se opese ohu Alhaji Faruku program na se
ne baba
o che oba onu personally eba Alhaji Faruku oba kacha ne se opese ohu Alhaji Faruku ade na se na Alhaji Faruku ko ba ye na wakoto otumfo se wayo chese Alhaji Faruku hunu dia wanya no ho se wakoto otumfo and but mimi who the idea say na Dr. Nessa Kwame despite ebeba personally ebe invite Alhaji Faruku say of value baba no top 10 Alhaji
ofa ahombrase enso na
Alhaji Kafra wate
na Kafra bibia o hwe yerua ose Kwame despite opon baabi anyame de na duro nyina echi no osa bre no ho ase o wa ahobrase na obu nipa nso ofa mekai se ohwe ni krom wiamo ase na afibia duru a obodwa ene akunafo eba behia ema akunafo no anije eche wo mo niema o start yes adwuma no kra ache saa time ne o ni station we na o mount 7 a o start this adwuma ni nyina no na che so obi a obre no ho ase o ma baabi a waduro no enkoni tirimu too much ohu se ekwan a na ho brase esitie no esese obie kwan epeja obi a over me hu obi a one yewura asan a wagina baabi aka no ho ase bone da obi a waben papa ni bia no watimi anya baabi asi wahwe so a make sure say ben a oben papa no ebe ya dance die di amo no ankasa enti oye oman asset a eni kwase ye toto nase e na wo hwe se yenya no so be se 5 e wo mamu hanom a ka youth no ni nipa bebira pe adwuma ye o man mu ha no ka by now no dodo na anya adwuma ye because onye pesemi nkuminya na ka wanya ni sika no wo no wode no ho ni bibia de de na ogusu bie nnwuma mamamfo nya bi ye na chese odwen wo man no ho odwen nipa e wo man num no ho enye wono nko a ne selfish interest and odwen ho
but me yenhwe enipa so odo no Richard.
Yeah.
I recall say obi a best point savings and loans. Now we share the rate at which I'm for san lie. Say you could be account or I'm saying and the watch just gather. It's a best point savings. Now I wouldn't say scratching in 70. Now British bank see me, you know, a Saturday Barclays and then Sanchat. And as we free say because be account a year best point, you know. You see, I mean, bank be as a best point. Na September because me kasi yen transfer is be mea. Na almost there be savings and loan no dey intimate transfer. Na best point for be assist me. At the womo EcoBank account and money. The catch the womo say yen transfer from EcoBank account num. Na subsequently na EcoBank from my best point. And you could have a whole managing director, general manager. Na womo share am ya transfer is cano at the mame. Meme da kura mani ehia me pesca dia so ade bi so a best point it me ehwe ema me sika. So you realize how do we personalize sanoma ade oyeye hwe se area hon kwala omo ho nyina nyim se sikafo ma de ye nko ba bi sa abasa enso so no exclusive aye upon invitation no enkwada wo pom ho nyina mrantie ne mabawa omo nyina begu ho obia so anya bibi di then at a point you didn't see Suma despite. Nese kwa despite no. And when you nketi nyina esana ne shirt esenu guitar bi na boni mu say and when you kwada no say ya no aya ne say ya no blow keys. Now you are asking say na ye den when you kwala ni di agro say ne namfo bi experiencing
no of ADAKABRI broni frɛ bibi say charisma. Na ye charisma ya dia ye enye classroom sem na wo hwe mu boss a wo be hu say mu boss no me sha no da. I only hear of his name, but it is one particular individual I admire him from afar. He said they are beneka about the vision, the foresight, integrity and commitment to vision. No, there is a difference between having a vision and being committed to fulfilling the vision. No? And he said Yahuka about the SCE the unveiling of the museum. Now, museum Nakasano, do you know the tourism value of the museum? Do you know the tourism potential value of the car museum now establishing? People can travel from all over the world and come to Ghana because there are brands of vehicle and there are categories of vehicle bimu was a museum now, and then ebia unya no bibia
collectors items.
So in this regard, no, it's a contribution to our tourism drive, and it must be established. And now the Bible even says that a dream comes through a multitude of businesses. Nyami natural Bible no see a dream comes through a multitude of what? Businesses. He could have said so. Peace FM is doing well, UTV is doing well, every other thing is doing well. Therefore, a see one they are made, they are measure, and then I see I'm sufficient enough. And can say a see what. But when people are being used as instruments of blessing, they never get satisfied. Because the more God blesses them, the more their blessing also do what? Brony say snowballs. And I say a coca obi fufroso. Enti na be hu say o wakumapa now the year bibia nobody can challenge you because your God will always be there to defend you. Best point savings alone same we already be no. It's about service to the people. Because Mikacho said the ability to anticipate and identify the needs of people and satisfy it profitably, that makes you an entrepreneur. And to share the traditional banking system now, edu baby no, they become too over pompous. The relationship between the bank staffs and the customers was becoming a problem. And as at that time, no, certain microfinance institutions now, omuba kakra. So Usha Best Point Savings Alone, they have always distinguished themselves by providing new cutting-edge solutions to the needs of customers. Ninya kanwa obewu se jumano ekosuye. To my fellow Ghanaians now, ubeka se obi eko onwani foam eko chwa brodia onwa dua and then your concentration is about the dress the person wear to go and cut the plantain. It is all about envy and shallow-mindedness. Omanwe Ghana no, it is full, excuse my language, it is full of so many shallow brains, shallow, empty, dead heads, that they are good at nothing but just to criticize, condemn, attack, and do all manner of malicious things to individuals. Omu fight say they'll build something for themselves and the integrity of the nation at large. It is those shallow brains now I want my women. They are the reason why Ghana we are where we are. Anything out here, Professor Lunumba ni audio now boy earlier on. He said they teach it in Japan. When you go to Japan, they teach in Japanese language. When you go to Korea, they teach in Korean language. I have no inferiority complex. No, I hire too much. And of ADAKABRI, there are a lot of shallow brains who they don't look into the substance of the issue. They social media, and these things must be controlled. And yes, Anna, we will have people who will not want to be good again in this country. They said they are Ben Eka, a man with a humble beginning. What man rising through the storms of life. Adun Pempensobia. What creative opportunity for himself. Sa form na okoe They said they are Ben Eka. And yes, only Obia Hobeko Kache Kotra Brody Bremi. But it's a demonstration of no, you see, there are some people when they become rich, no matter how rich they are, if they used to drink in Calabash, no one day want to go back and drink in what? In Calabash. Yes. Because Brony Fero nostalgia is a feeling. Or say Miami wa me foam, me try me broad here. Or no the anya foam na oko try broad there is a nostalgic feeling. So I have gone into my farm to cut my own plantain, and it's demonstrating to you that if me come in that fight, okay, I can have a broadier farm. Me kwako try me broadier, any year me need fufu, and to usu beti mi ebia. What prevents you from focusing on praising him for Ali demonstrating humility than going to complain about Atari already? Or share. Anything I make catch say omuka about Atari ni ebia in the aspect of omuka Atari no once, and I mean they are trying to demonstrate to him say he's flamboyant. And now I say, that's the best English word I can use. That he's trying to be flamboyant. Say, who call from now I share Louis Vuitton, Atari, and now I share Gucci, and now I share a designer wear to farm. Is that your business in the first place? And yes, right? Said yeah, 3 days ago. I haven't seen. I just read articles about it, but the fact that I am a tourism person, I know the tourism value of that. There are some cars now. Me show a picture. No. Over 40 years of my life on this earth, me who be there. And I don't know whether the place will be open to the public, where you pay a token and go and wash the vehicles afterwards. I don't know what is behind it. Either say it is just for his own personal purpose, or it will be open to the public. Saying you know, I bet me I got to use the kaka krebi. Now vehicles stay well no. You bet me I can share and can bear me there. I would have also wish say some of the vehicles open to the public in there and for the tourism bit omufa a cruise drive experience to be there and it's open to the public now. I can pay a token to sit in some of those vehicles. They will drive me around the premises for let's say 10-15 minutes for a fee. Ningina a part of tourism drive and promotion. Ma John Afomra na Richie Suma of the Movement for Change na yatene no.
and then Ben Asari of the New Patriotic Party. And John Yamwatanase. Na yigusu ehwe animunyam ben na me director yenyina susu ye chairman papa na se kwa me despite utumfo de abehye no won enkran ayenkrum ha sei na ne nnwuma a wo ye policy nnwuma a waye nyina social media be kan say saying na mrante ne mabawa use social media ma brante ba ako Safu Kantanka What's he saying? Na despite no, na in the tune of and I into a sikafo social media no, and na waka we. Nkrofo di na tem ano. Say what do we hear na kekanse mu no. And na wasaba for those saying ye di hear kekanse mu no. Very soon you will see a proper billionaire launch a problem-solving venture right here in Accra. Let's say until the concept of no necessarily kwame despite a deal person we na say. Na instead say nipa making we better not them ha abe program han mo. Instead so be find out more why the man is doing this no. I want to do this social media no or the air.
Yeah, wafa I'm say the di kan mentie etifo. Na me fanchem kakra. Me nya fort kakra wo me car no me ba no. Eti na say me package baby kura na me yi nti me fanchem. Wafa wonim ewia say e wo no. Enye obi ade bia no be na obi bepe wasem. Wo ade wo ya ade na amanfo bo aba so no. Na nipa ba ko dogina ho. Na on the negativity nko a. And some obeka ebebu abem kwa no de obeka. Eti sankofo no omo doso ho ewiase a. Na you will be surprised say enye Ghana nkwa na sade no ho. Eti wofa dia Safu Kantanka eye ne de enya ade a ese ye ohun kura. Na me kai I think say 10 years ago or so. Ta mo bi a peace FM foforo no. Na every year bia Dr. Sir Kwame ene ni nuanom no. Every Christmas bia obehu no. I think some of the first time cry no mo check kokko. So be kaya 10 years ago. For the first time it na see. Wo hwe omo kruma aka baby omo nso a omo ebubuafo saa we na every Christmas
the vulnerable groups
any ada enya omo kwampo every year bia bo se kumase na nkokọ na o che na ade na o masika so ka ho ejo no de saa nyama we no wa yache eti Dr. Sekwame de oyobia oye visionary enya on say there are a lot of people they look up to him o share a pure water nsu ya na before be a special ice no na nkofo ho mo ye nsu dada but or enter into sa industry no put me on the way special ice nko a mekai that was about 5 years ago me cut na me new site ho e wo Kaswa Million City na me say no me wo malam no na nsu am no special ice because na other ones no ma na wo yemi yo ya ne sa we timi me imagine say special ice ada me no etimi ko me say no me hwe na nsu mo tonton ho no enye because nsu amano ma ntimi say me ko no nsu wo fra e be dane me yem and me hear say I will venture into that business na me dia ma my wife no why over enye easy a Brian Sana because they wanted to take me to the process no say me ba no register me no mo ye quantity so mo ye ne ade etu me won say after chia me be a customer no ana me nkofo beto asisi a wokọ me area ho a na me ko ho no that was 2019 no mo no specialize say stores ni na almost the area Million City sa onim wa obia shop be ko bia specialize oh enti Dr. Sekwame de adiblo ne sabaka bia no eye nhira
the Midas touch
so ti ase o hwe radio media space or start here no on buy okay those days joy ni ade No, say, hey, now radio tree station, they're better than a quitry. Why can't I better working kind tree? Oh, I working kind news what tree, a man for Kanya. But send why determine why you focus say or person or yes, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I'm having a great news. Yeah. Me can't go forward to matter see on my feet. A banu new customer. I bet pimp and su ya. Wafa crab be a fear by wabama need FM crab beg this year baby on bia. Enti papa ne de or adibo
and incidental so na dwuma ye mu no.
Yeah.
Here's a situation first is a stint with Adom. They spend 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Then with Hot FM, they spend 5 years.
Yeah.
Then back to Adom, another 2.5 years. But with a year Neat FM, despite media, 11th year mu, and I'm away.
Nanya is a crashing obeba. We're following you at Adom. We're following you at Adom. O share Abeku Krenti Muna. Oh, and now for sa museum will be me my show. Once I TikTok or the bad TikTok that. I say apart from a sa museum will be no. Or some it's enjoying. Or show ma. You want TV ni air conditions now. Make sure you never show TikTok. What you say? Enjoy a man for ya who said who feel potone or dada baby on why special place on ya enjoying when kwa uko you watch TV air conditions in your home. What you say? I don't know, but I watch it on TikTok. Some museum where or the about TikTok or ya sha sana or baby. The man, as I said, no, the man is a visionary.
But now you say, uko certain jurisdictions are na sikeni on pese utia tax bibria na ordinary koto collectors item. The collectors item no utimi yi baako e bia waton bia $2 million. Na yenye ne ayibia tax be. And it's another sophisticated way ubetimi keep sika in such collection. Now how many people would know se bia me yeseya metimi keep sika ewom abre sika no enna ho enna yaba betete ani a large taxpayer yabema threshold kese a utua entua
wofa enna me ka che say papa no oyobi a odwen oman no owo do ema oman no enna oyo onipai otima ni su papa oti ase se na woke yewom etitiri for krom ha dem oye amanfo nye uhwe nkofo a e depend on so a over wa wo de onim se na woke hwe futu okra odu tu a woka say you are into cocoa farming no catch that say and the assassin yeden e bi kra farmer
na no any real estate and any bruni sikako
wofa so ti ase
and now cocoa at a rate of $300.
Yeah. Hey, one bag. The ati there kra say wofa cocoa sector no His Excellency John Mama say by August no or sabe to cocoa mu eti wofa we de atene de eti wa ye cocoa farmer any awon monte ye no by August President Mahama ebe to cocoa so eti wofa say America no papa ne yobi a Jordan ne sabe so mbia so no eye nhira wow Jordan sabe so mbia ye ngofo bebre ho almost set up a lot of we are enkesi aga papa no jobe ye bia say wa adwempa no what mapa no susupa ema de oye bia no ene o ma otimunity no no pese bua o man no mu ni timfo mu timunity no bibi obe bia ye nhira enti wo fa me de meka ne say Ghana for tanichi de oye bia no sa text messages we de ubenya bebre because unya ni 100%.
Was it the man ni Sule? I say describing Dr. Sekwame Despite was say the man is simply telling people no matter how you are dressed, get into production. So production is key na nyata de show. Wellington Atichugbi, as you the same people who say why are we enriching one person? So Joseph Echam, all we need is work for the youth. The talk is too much. Ena Okasa Michael Ananti, hi ADAKABRI. Ghana has immense potential to create jobs and generate revenue through agribusiness and mining, leveraging on our local resources and expertise. By encouraging Ghanaians to add value to all raw materials and producing finished goods, we can reduce imports and achieve self-sufficiency. This approach can help stabilize the Ghanaian city and improve the economy for the benefit of all. Michael Enedibaye. Ose Tanko Yaro, well talk, may God bless you. And Francis was saying, I live in the United Kingdom, but I don't care if the British pound loses its value to the city to stop Ghanaian exodus from the country. Ajiman Bedu, Mr. Alan, God is working on Anna Odebaye. Go mensa pilatu. Dom Kwabenya. This too shall pass. And people will return stronger, which am I want to me. Kukrudu.
She?
Kukrudu.
She rado.
Anna Odetuasu.
Ben Nums Yentimi Buano.
Francis was saying, Francis was saying, also the dollar must go down further to make the ordinary Ghanaian live better. And what they buy.
Dollar, the president to Kreba Femo or so.
Or that we have to peg it in between. Mientie, I am fasodia yibinya if you're manufacturing a slow. Na imports a bit expensive.
Oh, offer a problem why you face you a mamuhanum casia pan say your production or mamuhana or fem because any amadodo na you use or mamuhanin almost 75% ye cra nti ama debia no na the pressure casia pa ba beto economy so abra Anado Danko Kufuado, any MPP aban ede one district, one factory. Eba o mamuha na yadea utimize o maino munipa no dodo na energy yese at least enema bi wo ho no mo a yebetimi produce dodo na wo mamuha na ya use wo mamuha na yensese sika twitwiri die kese nkonkokra na yema bi tise toothpick ne ade a yebetimi aye wo mamuha ne ade ni nyina agese yekra nti ofa se yeya nkasa yaji yehudi na yetimi produce niema no dodo na wo mamu ha na ye patronize a ya de ebeboa wo man no na ne ya ne se ye ba be ye niema na se ye ya adwen se be production no mo kra na Ghana fo no kra no ya ye ready se ye be gi atum se niema ye wo mamu ha na ye be use ana but send ye bia no at least esesi ye start from baby ye tu anamo ni etimi e produce niema dodo na wo mamu ha na eye nhye kra na at least ye nhwe kwan a ye befa so a ye betimi ama oman na nya gidie se niema ye produce wo mamu ha no e ade a uyusu a ebeboa na ne bo no nso emra fam because of bia ne se ye wura ye papa kantanka eye afidie na o check in the price na ahwe second hand cars ye be ya na chese o compare na chese ono ne de no e wo soro kakra ba ono ne de no nso no ne empanimfo anase expert akire mu ne se ne de na ye brand new a woto a eno no e be boa osene se wo beto second hand ba wo hwe amount na nipa ni 400,000 300,000 350,000 akwa akoto sa aka no na obetimi akwa akoto second hand ne bi obenya ne be se 200,000 na 170,000 or prefer no mum than so obeto ne yaye wo mamu a eno na ya na ye problem nti se ye nyina ye gitum se ye niema ye wo mamu ha no ye ma ensombo ma ye na ye nyusu na emom no mo na wo use na demand no wo soro no over ya na ma niema ne bafem because to say ye ka say ye wura o say kwa me despite or ye special eyes na say enipa dodo na agitum ede wo ho hyem na so wo to a se ne tie bia ne price na ya de ye beba fam but se demand na ankosoro ana se demand no amanfo an demand ne more na se wono nso antimi enye sika na anye amiem amadodo na omo hwehwe no omo nsa beka de a da bia no obon se ono nso no the pressure beba no so ama na adwuma no obon se entimi emuvu ana se enflourish ebasa na ono no naba mu bebu nti adwuma a oye o man mu anokra no oni saa ahotoso no odo no so obeye na timi abo o man but se wo man ni betimi agina ne na so paade a no kure mu no je se ye yankasa ye niema ye wo man mu ha no ye de ye huhyem ne yusu na o man na nkasa nso nyintum se niema ye wo man mu ha no eno na beboa ye ama economy na agina yie ama ye sidi no agina yie because ni ekosu sesi a dollar ni sidi na sem ya artificial ye te ya abon wan se niema ko yie wo soro na na sa pagya na ko because yewura John Dramani Mahama kraka se enya dia dollar no betimi agina ba bi agina yi be se 2 years and say 3 years eye dey a e be sa afrosoro ba na emumu no se yetimi e produce more e wo mamu hanom a sika kese a yesesa de kokoto niema no wa mono ne e ma dollar na hoden ne kosoro no enya dia dollar na hoden be kosoro asene sidi no na emumu no niema no dodo na ye wa ha ne yusu a e be ma ye economy no abafem enti na hoden ne agina yie na yetimi agina ye economy na ye strong enti ofa niema no de yesre se ye produce more wo mamu ha na ebeboa ye yie pa na no nso na bemu wo man na timi agina ne na so na se ya anya ne sa na da bia business as usual ye kra niema ne ba ye kra niema ne ba ye kra niema ni ye wiki ye economy na system no na ye wiki no but amanfo nso business inti no omo mfa ho se eniema na ye kra na no omo nso eyi omo anije eyi omo de because omo nya sika film at the expense of Ghana for dodo na nkasa no omo nu sika na omo hwehwe no ene omo hia na emum se president ene o man ni gitum se eniema we ye wa ha eniema we ye wa ha sa eniema we ye use wo hwe o man ni mu a rice ye use no more wo hwe sika every year bia ye tam ede kra emo eba o man mu ha no ma wotimi dwen wo se ye won sase ni bebre ena abode mu ehwehwemu nso ama ye nyina ya te asese even ye mo na ye dua wo ma mu ha no kra no ahoden wo mu sene ne ye kokra no enso still the bia ye bekwa kokra mo no ya na ebinum last na me no obi kasa no say eye nida ho because amanfo hu so omo kra mo no dodo no ba ena mpanifo bi nya omo kota no omo se wom entisi ye bedua omo na nkasa e wo ma mu ha ne nya ho mfaso no de omo mpe ye sere se oman no ana yewura John Dramani Mahama onfa ne nansi fam na onkasa ebia sa sector we ontimi collapse ana ontimi stop se me yenkra na emom no ye biem na ye nso ye produce more wa hanom a enye obi a na beka se omo kra ne ma ne ba na nkasa Ghana fo no e patronize ye de na e be ma ye economy no agina yi na ye sidi no so ahoden atimi akonanim.
Benjamin Isari of the New Patriotic Party Jonafo with the National Democratic Congress yentie won so so say ye pese di ye no city appreciation no to what end?
Yeah, Wafa, I'm say to the betterment of this country. And Wafa the measure on say Ghana for bano ye hu ye because dollar no de wo share ato forcing na wo share President Mahama na wo share economic management team pempenso a umpeso ni dollar no ekodu a ene ye sidi percent enya ahonden enye dollar nko a ofa wo share other currencies wo share pound sterling wo share euros wo share yen na wo share naira na ade we nyina na ni nyina etiba fom but because mostly no you're dealing with dollar you know. We are only mentioning dollar. We've forgotten about other currencies now. No so etiba phone. Now me Brian can say, President Obama can say, or no crown on Jini said dollar no beti aba phone. It is not true. It is not true. Oh, what I say, can't say ma. Some woman who say, just 5 months ago we're in government. It is advice when you know. When you advice when you farmer wo IT experts na Obano o ka so ye messiah na o no ye the economic messiah o ba ye wie ya afi na IT no preach wo fa o kwatachi mana endro me hwe TikTok me sa hwe wada network o kwatachi ma sisi ya na fact emu because of appreciation of the dollar no still the news gaining strength no ofa emu a short to what man.
Sir?
Yeah. A more a short to or matiti Yamasonova. You oko other marketer. Kumasi. There was one journalist who interview some of the market women, and I'm so called Dumos or called KJT baby. I know interview market women, other shop owners. Our moka say, or matiti Yamaso. Our move present mama baso. Or move present mama baso. Oh, Kumasi. And you know, present Mahama. Any Ghana Nibia, a dash to say, you see the number any strength. Just 8 years ago, more program, must say planting for food and jobs. Wafa, start planting for food and jobs here, to me sustain here. Enka, moya ye crafty, a mananuba a chrome enka by this time, enka swati. So I think 2018, baby. Yenya bumper harvest in rice. Northern sector ho. Muni be gu wa ma na echirikwa no munya baby ko ambetu ma den. Ade akọ. Esu ye see one constituency, one warehouse. Ye see one constituency, one warehouse. Emma wofa. Afena emona ba. But then you don't know how to store it. And no since then, no, what I to me who sa we ni biom. Yen to me who am I do a big minister for agriculture. Or see or a ministry hono, or be yeden, or be showcase, or be ton broadiane branches, or be kai start story now. E can see him fa. Ofa any e can see him fa. It is was hard, when it is time for us to think positive. Sa ba no e fairly poto na Ghana fo atuatia na na sa ba fofo abana so ye ade a wo fo yembo na baso wo fa andra me ko kakraba memeti kaswa kakraba market. Can you believe say me to brode 20 cedis e mamba kwa 5
sir
men dada baako 5
baako 4 cedis
baako 5 enye body anke share papa
enye nyini
na what we dey obesi dey oda fufu esu me kai 6 months ago a wo fa who nja brody 20 cedis kwa wato yeah 5 wo fa kan fe say ye to banchi 10 cedis brody 20 cedis because
with me
yet wo fa ebi kwa kai because masaba ono wenyi nti ope ya owo fo no ope say brody etimi pa
de mu emre
ope de mu wo fa me say yentumi endi kra ama me ba kra wo school 11 June ya obecho na exams kra obecho BC fo yi me de edwani bi kra ka man wo school wo fa wo say ye de bi kra ka man wo school say bedi akon say bedi akon memorial city say o ka so ha CP ka so CP and I'm still 2 million city. Now, yes. On the visiting a day, and my parents, because we saw metro on the 11th. And tonight, say,
Unamakolana say, school, would you fool?
Oh, what for the day? What for the buso, or also on the Fiapiani? What's that school, dear? And you are so, or before I know I tested, met me the more crossy. That old bar, Mumbo, Damunia Fiapiani, and Bremy.
In the fufu.
And the fufu,
can you imagine?
Over. What just here?
Anyway,
Jamaica Sunny said,
I went to say,
yeah.
Now, Saturn, na nema me Lady Victoria. Na fufu at the ma a year Ghana with the Cocomano.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, fine. I say me about what I say. Sometimes they can visit now. It to me, a month for to me, Jollof, ne, Benkune, a day for what they call. What you say? Yeah,
Dr. Dokofoso Cambridge.
Yeah,
and Nana, if you to the command of Cambridge.
It's a yard, what you say?
But I said, Fufu is a one.
Oh, you know, for
your be a chicken.
Me let us focus on the reduction. What you say? Any imputujuma John Mahama bumper harvest. One of me doubt me say eduane buo emba fom Banchibo Embafo. What about me? Doubt me. And then I'm traffic ma. By ya, boys, on the two, come to 300 Ghana, 200 Ghana. What find out 300 Ghana so when you be? Akasi. Eti, yo, ne my woman. Na aban be say planting for food and job. Ne obenya tomatoes a bucket and you turn 200, 300 Ghana cedis. And they call markets na kwahwe. You get tomatoes paint rubber as low as 80 Ghana cedis, 70 Ghana cedis.
Say a season.
Wofa.
Do baby.
Wofa. Sa season and it was there 8 years ago. And you no kwa obesha gutafo aka kire mo member say they should ensure say o metitete of prices so. Eti wo hwa enye only importers quite etitete om nyama so because the dollar is coming down. And then meba woko a Star filling station fuel 12 cedis 37 pesos. Woko Radiance 11 cedis 60 pesos. Woko a total 13 cedis 30 pesos. About 6 months ago we were buying a liter of fuel almost 18 Ghana cedis, 19 Ghana cedis. And then you come and say, "Yani ya $2 no, e dey na share prison." Na de bi obe soro no. Na dollar eba from no. You 8 years, 6 months ago, when they were in government, obe soro bi na dollar kosoro. And there, who sorry aduane bo eba from no. Obo time no, obe soro na aduane bo kosoro. Who got to add in there 80 cedis ah? Who be connect 120 Ghana cedis? Who got to add there? If you call malls, shopping mall, they were able to write prices on their items because dollar no they be a jumpy. Meanwhile, na ba me say what you than the Russia prison. The dollar rather arrested Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at Nisha prison.
Okay.
Eti wofa me no ka say cement bosu eba fom
mummy mbie phone line ka
iron rods eba fom
mummy mbie phone line
eti wofa so be tia na ka say dollar na eba fom no entumi eya endemitie obi wo City FM, one of the economic lectures or catch no ka say belu a bahama ne ato force in air con enye ne won say dollar will be 1 to 1 cedi.
Okay, be me phone line Sabri we say Yeti Benjamin Isari of the New Patriotic Party kakra. Yeti John Apple of the National Democratic Congress kakra. And yeti Richard Suma of the Movement for Change kakra. Give me phone line on busuafo ade hye so a ewofie no. Omo susu ye de ho no yentie. Bet me afrey was 0302 257902. 0302 257902. And I say 0302 243540. 0302 243540. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Father.
Yeah, for saying.
Alpha. Yeah, only a Bema Francis at the Mesuma Sama.
What the other room I yet?
Eh, Alpha, Meton Cano and Yaji, because on the panel you are Tiase. Men train and once and my boy Basso. Why are dear? I'm Mishra. We are with dear Camina, a Burubin and Kamayam, and come Panses, our Biati, and come the Ayapa Planza.
Yafa Koto Kaho. Ati Yaso Kaho.
Yeah, not the machine is Tawan and Monka, and the Ayaship of on Palm and up in ye. Of an the paper go home, or the Waben with the Yamishra. Offer the Abani chance how your uncle Bobia Diomana Blo since 1992. And these MPP uncle Phobia Diomana Blo, but fear no money near the home. And take an overlatano, say a friend, it's a Omlamina Noa, or so over. Offer only Minister of Finance, young Tibida, Bank of Ghana to me Boka, on Tom Tonchene, no family Mystica Bros FT, Mamma. A sedan by Jessica no catch him say Musika Medi, okay, Mate, and is out much at all. I'll catch them to Jessica and blow on Baton Bass or Boca. Now the Michigan Aquacutia. This is the time I see a friend and you go with you so more questions no mo yi omana no because mpanyinfo edi omana bro ọfọ no te trade ade akura yɛ pato no MPP wɔ mo te kwato ọfọ yɛ ɔha ɛn yɛ si yɛ $58 million akuti kadu amana ɛnso na ɔnam ɔpɛ $3 million ɛwɔ ayɛ ọfọ sometimes no minim deɛ kɔto mi ya makoma yɛ mi ya ɛya makoma yɛ mi ya because hwɛ sɛ deɛ ɔman meet mmɛmufo na as a citizen no me brɛ wɔ ɔman no asan manya bi kura di no because wa consulting asan manya bi di no na me hwɛ mpanimfoɔ wɔ mu emi te sɛ sika na mo wie no mo ma bɛka kyerɛ sɛ yɛn amɔbla ɔfa this the time akyɛma ho ntumi wɔsi yɛde ne tena hɔ yɛbisa n'asɛm this is the time akanokulata yɛtena bisa n'asɛm this is the time obiara wɔdi sika sɛ yɛn di sɛ yɛn mpp yɛbisa no tangible questions yɛsika ne yɛde ma ɔde yɛ dɛn ɔfa sɛ saa nneɛma wo yɛ antoato a politicians no bɛfa yɛfo yɛbɛwie na me a menni da ma na mebrɛ asa no matumi akyɛ cement asi fie no yɛbɛwie ne aka kyerɛ sɛ mema mmɔfla na ɔmo mpanimfoɔ atɔ dan gu aburokyire nti ɔfa de time a mede m'ani agye to ɔmaa me yɛbo aba so
0302 243540. Good afternoon. Hello. 0302 243540. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
At your first say.
What are the support you so soon?
You Mr. Cotte mean to you.
You with us here. Make up a show. Now, MPP on. Almost support to Bonnie. Almost support to Chrono. There's a mama on the mention form. The beer or your beer, get a fraternity. Get a for Yenu, get a for eternity. Money get your FPP for a year. The mama person subsidia. You should not tolerate MPP. Kwame Nkrumah didn't tolerate MPP. Yeah, catch MPP for say. Gonna force to about my mama say. You see, the not doing go for a year. Brother Jim on Samaye. No first case or minor. If you are catching to say, MPP need be a one book get a corner, MPP need be a wire get a pony. Mra everybody. What to me was second and sure, was second a quiet with Calamse. I buy my $45 million on fire. What to me a discount 1 year quino. If you are catching MPP for say. Sadede no mo ye no Ethiopia bottom in Ethiopia atare afeyo mark is no dey nimu no onu se dey nam kwan so eba
okay 0302257902. Good afternoon.
Ofa adakabre ewie nyame asumdi enka ho
na ma ko nyame asumdi enka ho
of more about my smart with my desperate video. Never what you may run so abaso. And then one some mobile Omoko Dubai a cotono, and then the Omoko Motono Ghana because at the fair far and what you may run, you're a doctor or said that despite any new and run offer. May a broom management, yes, say yes, Ghana, you went in before her, your money show must start, or Magana Yipa. Over more about him. I mean, me MP, but I'm either you actually do a while in Swan. Of a while, Abiola, Tia Cora, or Calculator Central, or Congress organizer, and to also more panel support several collection or unilational, either at the party. Papa, you are Chamaun to me and the actual was the Nisa Chamaun to me at the Bonimpo, near Money Bella. You didn't find me and Brown in Nasamana. I did actually about 1 week and send a young say. It didn't go down and Branwana. Of us play, they say, yeah, among them, our Ghana Hano. Yet your man asked you to add to a Sanimu. They say, acquire the Kofian be in the Maya. They decided to man Ghana to say a year because you're cool, yet to Abba, and this is a bino. They are to buy a star by now about officer, about the Chamu, won't pay for the beer. Jennifer and Mra, new or any paper, for what is there. so obiafa o man scanner the person go in free no o man say baby but yema embrano any people ye enye you go ka go say ye the otan any ahoye bi e ba san so entwedi so utemas asam sa ko te be kan ya do you be avoye you be for redo so ye ni yo o ebi mo ebi be 60 years ye di akuma any otan can say na say gana be wi ya no of magana be wi e china because na is by so is don't lose less and one saban sana everybody ba power the be ma do be sales and san ko so gana ha na ye best pay
Hey, finally, man, power horn mo na fi dem penifo no. Randy Apon Farmer. Good afternoon.
Adakabri.
Ajini.
Afo mu boko de.
Oba de other room ayeti aso.
Ela nyame ase. Adakabri nyame hira oni adwuma pa we o. Mo bo man pa nyame hira mo bebre. Adakabri mi pa se wo kero fo ya to man mu.
Debi.
Na yesese ayempan fo na nkasa na se de omudi animu so omundi duma maya. So mo bo kapre na mo jona ko sha brutiri. Ubeka ya NDC woman bi ubeka say ya jeli no 10 years so no wa brochire ginani Adakabri say wo kai pa oba be say me sometimes MPP for me di omo ya pa mo ti me jeli ni pa no 10 years o wa brochire mo nko fa no mba na ni pa mo ma ne mba so na mo jeli no no ono wa ti say mo jeli no vi Adakabri baba o ye be srem pan fo no ni mo bi say mo ye no omo ma ye nya ye ni gidie wo mo bie mu o say wo kere for that ya the whole finance minister na hwe se Jimmy Sika to mami na me beji ma de wo so waboka na da ska no de fa he wo mo ja sa nya twum na ya na o mo ye wo man mu no because sometimes no oju o mo ho a won ti ase leaders ye de mu di ade ani mu a na mo se bi mo pese mo condemn o man no o be hwe o ba no kuta dan ba ko o ko no kuta dan ba se 10 what you say ye de o man a hye wonsa ese o man dwuma a hye wonsa wa mfomso kakra ba baabi bra na be yi wo ho ano e ba ne na ha ayese bra wako ka brochire wo ma because ho de ya jeli NDC ni bi wa ma oho enti wo wagu se efi a wo so se wo betumi aka ho ene se obi di boni na se o maka kro no so amako ka obi man so na o ma be ni ye titire ne basa se
Okay, right. Yeah, there was a pa. Anti penifo ofana comments in here.
Famedase me nua pani nsɛm a wɔka de emi wanwa sɛ baabi a no de ne nanenam sɛ ɔno asɛte ne questions ɛna waba no answer because obi ani hɔ no mu a me betena he me nka bibia nkyerɛ sɛ yewura John Dramani Mahama wayɛ dɛ wayɛ sei anaso onye sei ɔno anasɛm wɔka na me retreat sɛ wɔse dollar no sɛ yɛtena hɔ no ma dollar no ba wansi di kura enya de ya ɛbɛboa wo man no wa yɛ nyina president na kɔkae nti ɛsi yɛ pɛgi no ɛwɔ baabi so wo bɛgyina ha no mo ka sɛ me say na dollar na ya ɔmo ayɛ na ɛba fam na me ka ho asɛm ɛsi yɛ John Dramani Mahama president abaso a me ba yɛ me nka bibia contrary to sɛ ne ɔyɛ yɛ ana ne ɔyɛ nya ana sɛ nye ɔno ankasa dollar na ɛba fam no ɔse sɛ yɛ ahwɛ ampɛgi dollar no wɔ baabi na at rate a eba fam na ebe bo man na nkasa enya de ebenya ho mfaso enti misro oba hanom na se wo ne yebeka no ya no ahwe no wa respond sa ne ma aba fam ofa yete ne ma be na aba fam wo mamu a bibie ni wonom aba fam enti so ote ya se wo kodwom a wo konya tomatoes rubber no 80 cedis enura mi firi kotoku market paint rubber na 120 Ghana cedis wote ya no mu dwa ntro se sorry enya ntro o kan sam a eno nokore ne mu wa because enya sa nete ebi a ba bi a auto wa de anim ba bi a me nso me to ma de different but reality ne say eniema ma afem eniema enya ma afem sa se ne ye kan nti yesre o eniema bi ani wonu mo aba fam nti
Benasare there was it
yo Mr. Benasare
Janafo so final comment
over sebe me the pastor one ka say oto kaswa me dey me say me to kaswa Akaba market you can send your reporters to go there it is a whole ton 120 na me turn 80 and it's not the difference is not too much
40
what you say enti whole time no you turn over 200 Ghana cedis but over there the thing say you be bo John Mahama ne Professor Nana Jin Abaso ene ato force the omo ye no Ghana for ene je ho you be say mo enda omunye adwumaden na you sure say by 2028 no your scorecard na ye be Ghana for beto abama NDC biom na ye be sa to aso no ye ba your policies any your promises ye to say one President Mama say 120 days he levy obey ye fi wa and they will ye fi ho and they bet President Mama say obey ye for we ye fi ho and they Mama say drivers because of taxes be a da omo importers so onu te maka boy din we ye fi ho ofa and then Okada also be ragazi Okada and them no ka say transport minister any DVL boss omu gusu omu de hihye to ho a omu de akọ parliament a enche Okada ye omu mbabo omu nya adwuma anya no amu drive Okada no ya enche ye be ye ma omu so metuma ya den aye wo fa me no ka say nde working abroad and there over 2,000 unemployed youth and no MP pa be mu ndo mo call outside aka ye adwuma enti wo fa ye betina ha anya say be ye boy enum aka sam keke. Okay. We made a promise to Ghanaians and we are delivering. And we will not allow anybody to trust us from our focus.
Right.
Finally. ADAKABRI, Bronica said, give praise to where praise is due. The Ebekani said, and Nesabi Sebi, NDC taking over, no? If the story was the reverse, Serbia prices of petrol is escalating. The dollar is still not holding grounds there. Me assure it would have been a perfect ground for the MPP to latch on it and bastardize them. So once there is a little briefing space, ADAKABRI said the dollar is stabilizing against the cedi or the cedi is stabilizing against the dollar, whichever way. Prices of petrol is coming down. Today I saw some 11.40 something. I say, wow, this is interesting. Me bon pass a petrol in the minyanka, ebedu 2 cedis per liter. And yesra mo said John Mahama any NDC for whatever you are doing, keep doing it. The Amesro mu said, don't get complacent. Mema trimde emeremu na enchebebre na musu you start losing your gas and misbehaving. The same way we are praising you, we will come after you. Right. We wish them well and we wish Ghana a better place for all of us.
Great. And the Emperor Nampama Richie Suma of the Movement for Change, as I said earlier on, Ekoma Jonafo of the National Democratic Congress and Benjamin Isari of the New Patriotic Party. Now, Nina say, Asada. The best so now Ulakoko Michael, One Abraham Moe, and